The poet Robert Frost once wrote a poem called "Nothing Gold Can Stay." It's all about how perfection is fleeting and to enjoy it while it lasts. Now, that same man once said that a certain college in southwest Ohio was, quote, the most beautiful campus there ever was. That school has their own slice of perfection right now. There is gold at Miami University, and despite what anyone has said or done, despite efforts from opposing sides or from critics deemed to push them away, that gold has stayed, shining brighter each day. And now it comes under the brightest lights it's faced since its beginning. The lights of Rocket Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, for the Mid-American Conference Men's Basketball Tournament. Welcome to the pregame show for today's MAC quarterfinal between the Miami RedHawks and the Massachusetts Minutemen. My name is Jake Zirolli. I will be your host for pregame, halftime, and postgame today on what is sure to be a jam-packed day of basketball full of upsets, twists, turns, and great play. Without further ado, let's get right into your pregame segment. Of course, we are at Rocket Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, the home of the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers, which seats 19,432. Be a few less today as the upper bowl is covered by curtains, but I'm sure for the championship game, that upper bowl will be open and rocking. 24 minutes to tip off here. We got a good amount of fans, a lot of red and white, not too much maroon and white. So good to see for this Miami side that they've got plenty of fans behind them. Only about a 4-hour drive, which myself and the rest of our Red Hawk radio crew made yesterday morning quite early to get here for the women's game, which of course they did win against Kent State, advancing to their own semifinal. The men look to do the same today. Their meeting history is short, only 2-2. Of course, UMass just joining the MAC this year, so 2 of those have come this year. Miami has swept them, winning 86-84 at Millett Hall and 86-77 in their most recent meeting on February 17th of this year at the Mullins Center in Amherst. The season so far, of course, the top-seeded Miami RedHawks are 31-0. 20th in the country. They're 18-0 in conference play, topping the conference, being the kings of the Mid-American. Their most recent game was an 110-108 overtime thriller win at Ohio on Friday to secure that 31-0 mark, sweeping the Bobcats in the Battle of the Bricks, having beaten them at Millett Hall 90-74 earlier in the season. Scoring leader was Ian Elmer with 32 points. Elmer with a tremendous game, leading the RedHawks to victory. He also was the rebound leader with 12 points. 12 rebounds. Elmer has been one of the leaders of this team all year. The junior guard from Covington, Kentucky. He's an All-MAC second-teamer, along with his teammate Brant Byers, 2 All-MAC second-teamers for this Miami side. 32 points, 12 rebounds, no assists on 68.8% shooting. A very efficient game as well for him. Not just a high-volume shooting game. He was also ridiculously efficient. The assist leader was their leader, the captain, Peter Suter, the senior guard from Carmel, Indiana, the MAC Player of the Year as elected yesterday. To some disgruntlement from the rest of the league, as there were thoughts that it would be Tavari Johnson from Akron. However, Peter Suter takes the honor. He had 4 assists in the game against Ohio. Suter averaging 15, 5, and 4 this season on 55% shooting. He's also on the All-MAC first team, as you would expect from the Player of the Year. The team stats in that contest against Ohio: 51% from the floor, 42% from 3, and 76% from the free throw line. So a very solid shooting day for the RedHawks, who have been one of the best shooting teams in the country this season. That field goal mark just below their season average of 52.6%. The three-point mark just above their season average of 39.3%. And the free throw mark a little above their season average of 74.9%. They were up as many as 11 in this game. There were times in the first half where it looked like they were going to pull away and make it into another game like they did when Ohio came to Millett and Miami won by 16. But Ohio was battling back. They had a few chances to win the game. Actually, Jackson Pavletsky, the star guard for the Bobcats, had a chance to win the game at the end of regulation. His floater came up just short. So that would send it to overtime, and Ohio had the ball with about 6 seconds left, down by 2, and a Jackson Pavletsky three-pointer could not find it. Miami escaped with a 110-108 victory and a 31-0 regular season mark. Starting five in that game for the RedHawks, the normal five. Antoine Wolfhook, the senior forward from Cleveland. He's been their acting center for the entire season, though he has struggled sometimes coming up against bigger, more physical forwards, which he may see one today, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Brant Byers, the sophomore guard from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Wolfhook was actually an All-MAC honorable mention. Byers was an All-MAC second-teamer, along with his teammate Ian Elmer. Peter Suter, of course, talked about him. Luke Skaljak, who was an All-MAC third-teamer, the sophomore guard from Brecksville, Ohio. Still dealing with a bit of a wrist injury on his right non-shooting wrist, so we'll monitor that throughout the game today. He has been wearing a protective brace or guard for the last two games against Toledo and then the Ohio game. And then Ian Elmer, the junior wing from Covington, Kentucky. Moving on to the Minutemen of Massachusetts, coming in at 16-15, a 7-11 conference record, getting them the 8th seed in this MAC. They were in a, excuse me, I have the hiccups, folks. They were in a three-way tie at 7-11 between them, Buffalo, and Central Michigan. Or pardon me, them, then Buffalo and Ball State. But they had the head-to-head advantage over Ball State, but not over Buffalo. So Buffalo gets the 7th seed, UMass gets the 8th, and Central Michigan and Ball State, who both had a skin in the game going into the last game day of the regular season, are both sitting at home. They are located in Amherst, Massachusetts, about 13 hours from Miami, so maybe not exactly mid-American, but as time goes on in this conference, that word starts to lose its meaning as, of course, we're having Sacramento State joining as a football-only member starting this football season, which has met some pushback from many. Of course, formerly in the A-10 was Massachusetts, moving to the MAC, this being their first season in the Mid-American. Their head coach is Frank Martin in his 4th season with UMass. He has a 63-62 record with the Minutemen, of course, being the former coach at South Carolina, led them to that Final Four appearance a few years back. Actually took one of his former South Carolina players with him, that being Daniel Hankins Sanford, who has been battling a tendonitis injury, but it looks like he will suit up today, maybe on a bit of a minutes restriction to keep him healthy. But the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, will go today. In their last game, they beat Ohio 94-82. They actually did not play on the last game day of the MAC season on Friday. So that was on last Tuesday, the 3rd of March, winning by 12 at home against the Bobcats. The scoring leader in that game was Marcus Banks Jr. with 31 points. Banks, an All-MAC third-teamer, the senior guard, 6'3" from Hampton, Virginia. Started his college basketball career at Western Carolina, then moved to UMBC, that's University of Maryland, Baltimore County in the America East, who actually now will be playing in the America East Final against Vermont in a few days. So Banks was the scoring leader with 31. He has been one of their best players all season. He's their best guard, a real spark plug in that backcourt. The rebound leader was Dwayne Wimbley Jr. Wimbley, a freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, standing at 6'6", 205. The freshman forward had 10 rebounds against the Bobcats, just only 6 points and 1 assist on 25% shooting. But 10 rebounds. He plays his role in a different way. He plays tough basketball. He's not the flashiest, doesn't get on the score sheet all the time, but he certainly does contribute to this team, and Frank Martin is very grateful for his many contributions. The assist leader was KJ Parker. Parker is a junior guard from Lakeland, Florida, coming from Florida A&M at the start of last season, so his second season as a Minuteman. Standing at 6'2", 190 pounds, dished out 6 assists against the Bobcats to add on to 9 points and 3 rebounds and 40% shooting. Parker, with a solid season so far, averaging 11.2 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds on 45% shooting. So Parker has put up a solid supporting role for Marcus Banks and Danny Carbuccia. In the team stat areas, they were 53% from the floor, 32% from 3, and 77% from the free throw line. Comparing those to the team stats for the whole season, they were well above their field goal percentage, season average being 46.9. Their three-point percentage was just below their mark of the season, being 35.4, and the free throw percentage was well above their season mark, which is 67.4. They're the second worst free throw shooting team in the conference at just 67.4%. In that game, they were still without Daniel Hankins-Sanford, who was struggling with a tendonitis issue, but it looks like he will suit up today, which adds another wrinkle for Travis Steele to deal with, as Hankins-Sanford poses a serious threat to any team, averaging 11.6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. The 6'8 forward, Charlotte, North Carolina. He can score, he can rebound, he can defend. Very versatile player, shooting almost 47% from the field as well. Hankins-Sanford had a good game against them in Amherst during the second contest of their conference slate. However, his efforts were not enough to get UMass over the line. Starting five in that game against Ohio were Dwayne Wimbley Jr., Marcus Banks Jr., Jaden Njigwe, the junior guard from Ayer, Massachusetts, Danny Carbuccia, the freshman guard from White Plains, New York, and the big man Leonardo Bettiol, the 6'9", 238 senior from Roncade, Italy. The big center, he posed them a lot of trouble, Miami did, in the first two games this season. Now looking to give them more trouble in the trilogy here and dominate the post. Going into some stat leaders now with 14 minutes to go until tip-off. Fans are starting to file in. This should be a well-attended game to see if the number one seed can continue their flawless season. For Miami, the points leader is Peter Suter with 14.8. Then it's Brant Byers with 14.1 and Ian Elmer with 12.5. Also in double figures, Luke Skaljak with 10.3 per game, Almar Atlason with 10.2, and Antoine Wolfick with 10.1. So 6 RedHawks in double figures this season. For Massachusetts, the points leader is Leonardo Bettiol with 17.8 per game. Had 17 in the game against Ohio, so would have been the leading scorer if Marcus Banks Jr. didn't put up 31 in a heroic performance. Banks Jr. is second on the team in points per game at 16.9. Then it's Daniel Hankins-Sanford with 11.6. Also in double figures is KJ Parker with 11.2. So 4 double figures, guys, for the Minutemen. In the rebound game, Miami's leader is actually Ian Elmer with 6.1 rebounds. Elmer at 6'6", so he's a taller guard and just extremely athletic. Gets up for those rebounds, especially when Wolfick is not on the floor, when maybe Almar Atlason is the primary big man. He's able to get in and play more of a guard-forward role, as is Brant Byers. He gets involved there too. Byers with 4.1 rebounds, which is good for 4th on the team. Antoine Wolfick second with 5.5 rebounds per game. Then it's Peter Suter with 4.7. So 2 guards in the top 3 getting involved in the rebound game. Almar Atlason, the other main forward, has 2.5 a game. He more plays as an outside forward, which may have to change today if they want to make up for Leonardo Bettiol's impact, which is sure to be great. Speaking of Leonardo Bettiol, he is, of course, the rebounding leader for Massachusetts with 7.9. So 18-8 this season for Leonardo Bettiol as he cruised to an All-Mac second-team mention, also adding 2.2 assists per game. Daniel Hankins-Sanford second on the rebound list with 7.2. Then it's Jaden Njigwe with 5.3. In the assist game, Luke Skaljak leads for the RedHawks with 4.7. Then it's Peter Suter with 3.9. And after him, it's Antoine Wolfick with 1.5. You know, that's a big man. Wolfick's court vision is still very solid, even in the post when he's working down low. He's still able to find shooters on the kickout, which, of course, Miami being a great shooting team, kickout shooters are a big part of the offense. In the assist game for Massachusetts, Danny Carbuccia is the leader with 6.3 assists per game. Had 4 against Ohio in their last contest. Leonardo Bettiol after him with 2.2, and then Jaden Njigwe with 1.9. Some roster breakdown now. Miami, the main veterans, Peter Suter was a transfer from Bellarmine 2 seasons ago. Antoine Wolfick, also a senior, a transfer from Rutgers 2 seasons ago. Both of those seniors. And Ian Elmer, a junior who has played all of his years of college basketball in Red Hawk colors. A pretty young team for Miami. The only other upperclassman that has really played minutes this season is Almar Atlason, who's a junior. The team only losing 3 seniors, Suter, Wolfick, and Eli Yofan, the senior guard from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who has only played in the Trinity Christian games and then the Bowling Green games, senior night. The only real transfer as well is Almar Atlason coming in from Bradley at the start of this season.
I wonder what we do in the portal this offseason.
And this team having such a young core and a core of players who have not really transferred in. Suter and Wolfa coming in 2 seasons ago. Allison coming in at the start of this season. But this is how you build a culture. You keep guys around. You keep guys through their college career. This is how you build culture. Travis Steele understands that coming in from Xavier in a very competitive Big East. In his 4th season with the RedHawks, he understands that to build culture, you need to keep guys in the building. And you also have the junior guard, Evan Pissarro, waiting in the wings as well, tearing his ACL at the start of the conference slate against Ball State. He'll be back next season as a senior, looking to close out his RedHawk career in a big way.
Yeah, yesterday.
Very unfortunate that the RedHawks did lose at Pissarro at about the halfway point of the season, so very unlikely he gets granted a red shirt, as those are by request, and considering he did play half the season and averaged double figures for the RedHawks during that half the season, he probably will not be granted that extra year of eligibility due to his unfortunate injury. But another piece of culture that Steele has kept around, this is really important, especially in today's day of age in NIL. We're going to stop for the national anthem quickly. Welcome back. Sorry about that quick stoppage. They do the national anthem with about 9.5 minutes to go before tip-off, which certainly not what I'm used to. I got caught off guard by that yesterday during the women's game as well. I'll try to get better at it for Friday and Saturday. So apologies for that, but we continue. Now with Massachusetts roster breakdown. Daniel Hankins Sanford is one of the main veterans. He was transferred 3 seasons ago, but has played all his years since his freshman year for UMass, coming in from South Carolina. A Frank Martin bringover 3 years ago. And then Dimitri Clerc is a junior who's played all of his years at UMass. Clerc, a junior forward from Lausanne, Switzerland, 6'10", 270, averaging 3 points, 2.5 rebounds, and an assist on 60% shooting this season. Looking at the transfers now, Marcus Banks, originally at Western Carolina, then UMBC, now at UMass in his senior season. KJ Parker coming in from Florida A&M 2 seasons ago, and then Leonardo Bettiol coming in from Abilene Christian. He was on that tournament team, which won a game as a 14 seed a few seasons ago. My player to watch for both sides. For Miami, it's got to be Peter Suter, the leader of this team, the MAC Player of the Year, All-MAC first-teamer, averaging 15, 5, and 4, and 55% shooting. He is their guy. He is the captain. He is the spearhead of this team. And most of all, he still remembers the absolute heartbreak from last season's MAC championship game where they lost to Akron in the final seconds. He does not want to leave Cleveland with that taste in his mouth, even though Miami signs do point to them being an at-large bid. Should they not win the MAC title, they do not want to have to find out. They want to take care of business here in Cleveland, especially Peter Suter, who remembers just how much that stung last season, losing to Akron in heartbreaking fashion. For Massachusetts, it's got to be Leonardo Bettiol. He may not be from Pisa, but he is certainly a tower. 6'9", 238 pounds from Roncade, Italy. The team leader in points per game and rebounds per game. The matchup with Antoine Wolfig and Almar Atlas will be one to watch, since anyone who watched it in the first 2 contests between these 2 sides would tell you Bettiol certainly got the better of it. He was able to have his way down there in the post. Miami has to be able to limit his impact down low, not just rebounding but also scoring, if they want to prevent him from taking this game over. Going into some other games around the country now. Going to be a great day of college basketball today. Starting off bright and early here at 11 a.m. in Cleveland for this one here. We've got 11 a.m., then it will be a 1:30 start. Then after that, it's just 30 minutes after the conclusion of the game. So maybe not exactly 1:30, probably around 1:40, 1:45, depending on how long this one goes here. But it's just 30 minutes after every quarterfinal goes to the next one. The ACC getting started today as well, continuing as NC State will get the 10th seeded Virginia. NC State, of course, going on that long run led by DJ Burns 2 seasons ago. They look to have another run in the ACC tournament now, but they are met with the 10th ranked Virginia Cavaliers. In the Big East, Providence and St. John's, the number 1 seed Red Storm, claimed the 1 seed after UConn stumbled to Marquette at the end of the regular season. So the 1 seed Red Storm take on the 15 and 17 Friars at the Garden. In the Big 12, Iowa State, Texas Tech, a heavyweight fight at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. In the Big 12 tournament quarterfinal. In the Big 10, Wisconsin in action today against Washington. That's at 2:30. Also at 2:30, Louisville and Miami, Florida. Notice I'm saying Miami, Florida, not calling us Miami, Ohio, because we're the real Miami. But either way, ESPN disagrees. The 24th ranked Cardinals in action against the Hurricanes, who both teams look to be an at-large bid, no matter what their fate is with the ACC. By all means, they should still get in. At 3 o'clock, 2 more games going on in the Big 12 quarterfinal. Arizona in action against the UCF Knights, who did defeat Cincinnati last night, which makes all Miami fans smile. So the Knights in action again against the Wildcats. And at 3 o'clock as well, the 25th ranked Tennessee Volunteers in action against the so-called at-large bid Auburn Tigers, coming in at 17 and 15. I think you ask any Miami fan what they think about Auburn, they're going to have an answer for you that may not be what you want to hear. But Auburn, if they do make a run, hats off to them. But Tennessee looks to shut that down. At 6:30, Purdue in action in the Big Ten tournament. The 18th ranked Boilermakers against Northwestern. At 7 o'clock, the top seed in the country, the Duke Blue Devils in action against the 18 and 14 Florida State Seminoles, who actually UMass took down earlier this year. Duke coming in at 29 and 2, look to advance to the ACC semifinal. At 7 o'clock, the Big 12 quarterfinal, the 5th ranked Houston Cougars take on AJ DeBanson and BYU. That should be a great game as well. At 9:30 in the Big 12, Kansas taking on TCU. TCU looks to get that at-large bid. At 22 and 10, it'll be close. They may need to beat Kansas State to get it. The 14th ranked Jayhawks look to advance to the semifinal as well. And another ACC quarterfinal, the final game today, Clemson and North Carolina, the 19th ranked Tar Heels taking on Clemson, who just beat Wake Forest last night. 2:41 to go until tip-off. Just my keys to the game, and then I'll let you go to Luke West, Poley, and Gavin Stark, who will take you through the first half before I rejoin you at halftime. For Miami, they've got to shoot the 3-ball well. That is their identity. It's okay to live and die by the 3, but you sure got to make it if you want to, or else you're going to die by it. And they have to limit Leonardo Bediol. You cannot let a big man down there beat you. I'm sure we're going to see some double teams from Wolfhook, from Atlason, from the bigger guards like Byers and Elmer being on him. They've just got to be always on him in the post. He's also productive outside of the post, so that's when we may see those bigger guards stepping out. And they have to keep the pressure on. They have to keep their foot on the gas. We've seen this in a few games this season where Miami gets up 8, 10, or 12, then lays back on defense, doesn't try to attack as much, and that's when they let teams back into the games and give Miami fans a few heart palpitations here and there. They have to stay on it once they get here, especially in such a high-stakes game like there is today. For Massachusetts, they've got to isolate Marcus Banks. They've got to let him win this game. He's their best guard. He just put up 31 against Ohio. He's feeling hot. Let him win this game. Let him take over. And if they're not going to isolate Banks, they've got to feed Leonardo Bediol. Get it to you, who is on paper your best player. Get it to him and let him work down there in the post where he does have a side advantage against Wolfhook. Actually, he doesn't. They're the same height. Wolfhook is about 7 pounds on him. But Bediol has certainly gotten the better of him in their 2 matchups so far. And they've got to press. They have to pressure Miami coming up the court. They've got to cause some havoc in that backcourt. My prediction for the game, Miami's going to escape here, 88-83. The score will be closer than the game actually is. I think some free throw shooting will get it down to 5-ish. But Miami gets out with this one, gets to the semifinals. Win or go home in Cleveland. It doesn't get better than this. Miami and UMass. My name is Jake Zirolli. Thank you for listening to the pregame show here on RedHawk Radio. I'll pass it over to Luke West, Poley, and Gavin Stark to take you through the first half. I will see you at halftime. Enjoy this one, folks. It's going to be a great one.
The march to finish some unfinished business begins today for the Miami RedHawks from Rocket Arena in downtown Cleveland, Ohio. It is the first game in quarterfinal action at the 2026 Mid-American Conference Men's Basketball Tournament as Miami, as the top seed, tries to make their way through 3 games in 3 days, but standing in their way, the 8th seed and the new kids on the block for the first time ever in their first year in the conference. The UMass Minutemen make their way to Cleveland to participate in the MAC tournament. Alongside Gavin Stark, I'm Luke West Poley, and Gavin, here we are. Miami in most dramatic fashion over the weekend, finishing off the regular season 31-0, and I think one of the best basketball games many Miami fans have probably ever watched on the road against Ohio. And now for the RedHawks, they've got the chance to check another box on the season here in Cleveland. But RedHawks, of course, not betting favorites to win this tournament. There are a lot of people that think that Akron team on the other side will get the best of Miami. But as well, there are 7 teams here that would love to send the RedHawks packing themselves, starting with a UMass team that, again, has the talent to compete with the top dogs in this league. They've gotten fully healthy after missing a couple of their bigs to wrap up the regular season, and anything can happen in this tournament, as we've seen on a level playing field.
Yeah, I mean, the entire 31-0 season, everyone's been talking about it. It's the big word around college basketball, but you got to put that behind yourself now. You complete that, but now a new season arrives here inside of Cleveland. It's win or go home, and some will say that this Miami team has clinched their spot into the March Madness tournament, but they want to leave no doubt. Travis Steele has said that multiple times in press conferences inside the locker room, leave no doubt, and that's kind of what this tournament is for them. They go out as underdogs, like you said, and then this UMass team has played Miami 2 really tough times. One time inside of Millett Hall, and the other time over there in Amherst. Played them tough both times, so UMass really wants another shot at this Miami RedHawk team, but the RedHawks 31-0, now 0-0 is kind of the way that you got to look at it here.
Yeah, again, no buys, no advantage to being the top seed other than playing that early game to maximize your rest here in the MAC tournament. And we have seen that this tournament has a tendency to chew up and spit out top seeds. Akron won it as the top seed last year, but prior to that, 4 straight regular season titles by the Toledo Rockets. They did not win this tournament a single time in that span. Miami won both regular season meetings. As Gavin mentioned, they were without Luke Skaljak in a 2-point win over UMass at Millett Hall, and then handled business with a 9-point victory over the Minutemen in Amherst in the second meeting of the year. But like you said, RedHawks hoping they leave no doubt, and for a Miami team that has broken all kinds of records this year, that is having arguably the most historic season in program history, they are hoping that that turns into postseason success. The year that the RedHawks arguably had their best season in program history until now was 1999. And of course, they did not win the MAC tournament that year. They were upset in Cleveland by the Ohio Bobcats. So we are ready to go here from Cleveland. UMass is in the black uniforms with maroon Massachusetts across the chest, white numbers on the front and back, and a white stripe down the side. Miami is in the home white uniforms. They will wear those as far as they can get here this weekend as the top seed. Script red Miami across the front with red numbers on the front and back. Carbuccia, Hankins, Sanford, Bettiol, Jingay, and Banks, the starting five for UMass. Elmer, Woolfolk, Byers, Skaljak, Suter for Miami. Woolfolk wins the tip. We're underway. Settle back and enjoy it. So glad you're with us. Quarterfinal action at the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Miami heading right to left to begin. One of the best offensive teams, not only in the MAC, but in the entire country, going to work, starting with Woolfolk on the high post right. Deals off for Elmer at the bucket. Went up for maybe a poster type of dunk. Kind of left it on the rim there where it rolled off. Hankins Sanford's got the rebound. He catches a return feed going the other way and drives down the right lane to score it for the Minutemen. 2-0 UMass. Daniel Hankins Sanford missed the regular season finale along with Dimitri Clerk, two of the top bigs for the Minutemen. They both were full members of practice after having lower body injuries. They're all good to go here for Cleveland. Suter dribbling in the right short corner, scoops it out for Elmer on the wing. Now between the circles, it's Woolfolk handing off for Skaljak. Steps inside the arc, lofts a high ball for Woolfolk. He bowls his man over and slithers to the rim to lay it in. 2-2 a minute in as UMass goes left to right.
And UMass guarding really tight around the perimeter, so you got to look inside to Woolfolk. That's exactly what the RedHawks do right there, and he shows off his physicality.
Jaden Jingay on the left wing. Now to the near side for Daniel Hankins. Sanford up top. Slings for Marcus Banks. Top 10 scorer at nearly 17 points a game in the regular season. Holds overhead. Gives straight away for Hankins Sanford. Drives to the elbow. Shot clock winding down. Hankins Sanford pulls up. He missed it. It's tipped out of bounds by Miami on the glass. And stays with UMass with a fresh 20 on the shot clock. And there you see Andrew, the guy that has terrorized Miami this year, getting active on the glass. And Leonardo Bettiol causing the RedHawks to tap that one out.
Bettiol has been a huge force throughout the entire MAC play, and especially whenever they take on the RedHawks. He seems to just up it another notch.
20 points a game against Miami this year. Had a career-high 16 rebounds against the RedHawks earlier this season. 2-2, 90 seconds in as UMass inbounds. It comes to the top for Marcus Banks, coming off a 31-point outing. Slipped down low, looking for Hankins Sanford on the backdoor cut. It's knocked away by the RedHawks. Elmer up the floor. Carbuccia prods at him from behind, and he fouled him. And that's the first foul of the game going against Danny Carbuccia, the freshman for the Minutemen.
Carbuccia tries to get a little bit of a cheeky turnover there off the back of Elmer, but draws a really sloppy foul ultimately for UMass.
Skaljak drives it down the right side, stops at the third hash, gives out Byers, left wing three up, off the front rim. Rebound smothered by Carbuccia, and he goes from left to right, crosses the timeline on the left wing, and works his way to the middle. Now races down the alley, stops at the block, goes up and under past Elmer, and lays it home. 17:55 to go opening half. UMass 4 and Miami 2. Slow start for both teams offensively as Skaljak dumps it off for Woolfolk underneath. He's wide open, and he lays it in all alone in the paint. He's got all 4 of Miami's points so far. Carbuccia heads off a screen to the left, lofted it into the post. 2 RedHawks go flying to tip it away from Hankins Sanford. They knock it out of bounds. Both Suter and Elmer go to ground. 9 seconds off the shot clock. UMass keeps it. They inbound from the right side baseline. Jaden Jingay, wearing his bright green shoes, backs onto the blue baseline reading Mid-American Conference and lifts the ball up to the right elbow where Hankins Sanford comes down with it. Now Carbuccia straight away, gives to the far side. A cut across for Jingay. He pulls up, rather that's Marcus Banks, and he knocks down the jumper from the elbow.
It's a really good job there by Marcus Banks to just find his spot there and get it to go.
6-4 UMass, 17-18 to go opening half. Byers tries a deep right wing three. Can't connect, a little bit short. And the rebound secured by Marcus Banks. The UMBC transfer does not rebound the ball a ton for UMass, but gets it to the inside. And Hankins Sanford in a crowd rises amongst the trees to hook it home. 3 minutes in, it's 8-4 UMass as Miami goes from right to left. Ian Elmer crosses the timeline on the right wing. Comes off a screen set by Woolfolk. Speeds up the baseline, gives up top. Skaljak straight away. Trey off the right side of the rim, but Elmer with a physical rebound, and he puts it back up and in. Ian Elmer contorting his body down low to get that offensive board, and it makes it 8-6 UMass, so 16:38 to go first half. Bettiol has it at the nail, gives back out right wing for Banks. Shot fake, drive inside the arc for the short corner. He pulls up, doesn't go. Tap back up by Bettiol. That rolls off the rim. He gets another offensive rebound. That doesn't go. Another chance on this end for Hankins Sanford. He missed it and then taps it out of bounds, going for another offensive rebound. Miami makes their first subs of the game as Luke Skaljak and Antoine Woolfolk come off. Trey Perry and Almar Atlason check on for the RedHawks.
Trey Perry checks into the game for the first time, and man, was he a huge piece in that Ohio victory last Friday. Just 21 points off the bench and played starter minutes throughout the entire game. Huge shots and huge moments.
Most points against a D1 opponent this year for the freshman out of Liberty Township, Ohio. Right now, straddling the three-point line on the right wing, Woolfolk, or rather that's Atlason, hands it off. It comes around the arc to the near side for Perry. Works up the baseline, gives for Atlason, hangs up and scores. Caught some contact there straight up by Bettiol. Doesn't get called for the foul, but Atlason powers through it to tie the game at 8. And now Carbuccia trying to drive. He dribbles it off his foot down the right side. It heads out of bounds, and the ball goes back to the RedHawks as we've reached our first timeout on the floor. Great contingent in the house here for the 11 a.m. game, and it is almost all RedHawk fans. Back and forth start here at Rocket Arena. Quarterfinal action in Cleveland with 15:45 to go in the first half. The score, the top-seeded Miami RedHawks 8 and the 8th-seeded UMass Minutemen 8. Back to Rocket Arena after the break. You're listening to Miami Basketball at the MAC Tournament on RedHawk Radio. With 15:45 to go in the first half, the score Miami 8 and UMass 8. With Gavin Stark, I'm Luke Poley. So glad you're tuning in with us, whether you're at work, whether you're on the road. Pretty good Miami crowd here today, which we were just talking about in the break. If the RedHawks can make it to tomorrow, maybe make it to Saturday, will surely grow in size. Just over 7,000 people attended Miami's MAC championship matchup against Akron last year. There's a pretty good crowd for an 11 a.m. Thursday game, and of course we're glad that you're with us. Back and forth start. RedHawks force the turnover into the timeout, so it's Miami ball, and Pete Suter brings it up. Bounce pass across the timeline on the right wing goes to Trey Perry, and now it's Suter with his heels on the MAC logo. Gives to the left elbow for Almar Atlason. He tried to toss it to the wing, back for Perry. Hit off the hand of Banks and skittered out of bounds out near half court. Possession stays with Miami with 16 on the shot clock. Suter bounces it in for Trey Perry in the backcourt, and he takes it left back across the timeline. Perry off a screen, gives for Elmer, has it back. Now Byers on the left wing, drives by two, hangs up, finds Suter in the corner. Extra to the wing for Elmer, another extra to the left side. 3 up for Perry, doesn't fall. Suter gets a hand on the rebound to tap it out, but it goes right to Banks. UMass from left to right. KJ Parker into the game. He gives up top for Bettiol, has it back on the left wing now, gives deeper into the corner for Bettiol, and now on the right side it comes back up to Parker. He hoists up a 3, it doesn't go. Bettiol comes soaring in for the rebound though, and catches it for UMass as he's now doubled along the block, tries to go up for the shot, and he's fouled. And already Miami's bench a little bit incensed with the officiating crew as they thought That was all ball from Atlason to draw a jump ball. But Atlason picks up the foul, and that sends Leonardo Bettiol to the free throw line. And much like the first two meetings, Miami is learning very early that they need to keep him off the glass, or he will be punishing. Stands at the free throw line as a 71% foul shooter, and he misses the first. UMass, pretty bang average team when it comes to offense in the MAC this year, but they had been dreadful from the free throw line in the regular season at 67% as a team.
And now Justin Kirby checks into the game, and he has been a great rebounder at the guard position for the RedHawks. Shows off that athleticism a lot inside the paint and can go up and high point a ball with anyone.
Bettiol swishes the second free throw, so he goes 1 for 2. As Justin Kirby has checked into the game, and he's got the ball up top for Miami back on the offensive end. 9-8 UMass, 14:41 to go opening half. Kirby pivots around. Frank Martin wants to travel as he bounced it for Atlason in the short corner left. He brings it out up high now with 8 on the shot clock. Gives for Elmer between the rings. Between the legs on the dribble. Step back, smothered three. Bounces off the iron. Miami is 0 for 5 to start from beyond the arc, and UMass has got the rebound. Dwayne Wimbley Jr., the freshman out of Fort Lauderdale, brings it forward. Now it's Banks, bouncing off for Bettiol at the free throw line. Fakes the jumper, got Atlason in the air, drives right by him, and lays it up and in with the left hand.
You got to keep your feet on the hardwood if you're Elmer Atlason there. Got to stay down and guard tougher.
Bettiol with the last 3 points for UMass as Byers has a catch-and-shoot left wing three, and he knocks it down from the corner to even the game at 11 with 13:52 to go in the first half, and finally one falls after 6 tries for the RedHawks.
And you just know the RedHawks are not going to stop shooting from beyond the arc. It's where they've thrived all season.
Bettiol leans in against Atlason on the right block, and he hooks it up and in with the right hand. You got to be very, very careful with Leonardo Bettiol, who's shown the ability to go off. Nearly 18 points a game in the regular season, good enough for 5th in the MAC. Perry, meanwhile, drives right by his man, but he missed the layup with Parker on his back. Kind of a silent whistle, though. I believe a foul was called. Couldn't hear that from all the way up here, but the foul goes against Parker, who contested that shot from behind. That's his first, and the team's second, and it sends Trey Perry to the free throw line.
And Trey Perry does a lot of things well, but he doesn't do anything better than getting to the rim. He is just amazing in an isolation situation to just drive it to the rack and find some space.
Perry just over 70% from the line this year and knocks down the first. And outside of the fact that he missed the shot that had a very similar look to that game winner that he hit against Western Michigan moments ago, makes it 13-12. Miami checks Brant Byers off along with Ian Elmer. Pete Suter back into the game for the RedHawks, along with Antoine Woolfolk. For UMass, Danny Carbuccia and Jaden Jingay come on. Hankins, Sanford, and Banks take a seat for Frank Martin as the second free throw drops over the front rim and in for Trey Perry. And that ties the game at 13. 13:22 to go, opening half. First game of the 4-game session here in the MAC quarterfinals. Jingay picks up his dribble on the right elbow extended to the outside. He puts it up top for Bettiol. Now one arm sling across for Carbuccia, slashes straight across to the block and lofts it up and in to get UMass back ahead at 15-13. Perry, two-hand chest pass to Atlason, across for Kirby, left wing Trey. A little bit strong. Woolfolk got a hand on the rebound, but it got away, and for some reason Bettiol chased that down and touched it along the baseline. Maybe Bettiol got a piece of that along with Woolfolk as the ball was headed out of bounds. He stepped on the baseline as he tried to throw it back in. And so that gives Miami another shot on this possession. Perry inbounding the basketball, finds Woolfolk alone on the right wing. He thought about the three. He was open, but decides not to take it. Now it's Atlason straight away. And now it's Suter to the right side of the key. Suter dribbling with the right hand, picks up his dribble, scoops it out, right wing Trey for Atlason. Wedges off the left side of the rim. Kirby competes for the rebound, but it's torn away from him by Wimbley. And UMass takes it from left to right as Carbuccia crosses the MAC logo. Carbuccia behind the back on the dribble. Wraparound pass to the high post right for Bettiol. Spins into the lane and tosses it up and in over Woolfolk, who's holding his face. Might have got clocked in the nose there as Bettiol's got another bucket. He has 7 of the 17 points for UMass, leading all scorers in the game. 17-13 Minutemen with just over 12 minutes remaining in the first half. And now Suter coming around Wembley at the key, threw his head back and got fouled. And Pete Suter's become very good at doing that, kind of selling that call a little bit on the drive. That's the third foul as a team for UMass. It comes on the floor, so 20-second reset for Miami. We're 9 seconds shy of the under 12 timeout window. 17-13 UMass in front. Miami has not yet led in this game.
Woolfolk cleaning up his nose, it looks like. A little bit of leakage, but he'll stay out there on the floor. Bedio was swinging his arms around a little bit as he went up for that layup on the other side of the court and just clocked him right in the nose in Woolfolk.
Great quick work from Chris Elmore, Miami men's basketball trainer, as the RedHawks get it back in. Skaljack across for Kirby, left wing three. He knocks it in. Had KJ Parker in his face. Arguably the two most covered looks from three have been the ones to drop for Miami, as they cut it to a 1-point game with 11:45 to go in the first half. UMass 17, Miami 16.
And it was from the same spot that he missed his first attempt moments before. Stays confident, shoots it again, knocks that one down.
First basket for Kirby, 10 on the shot clock. Meanwhile, UMass is just dribbling it out near half court. Carbuccia throws it all the way across. Jinge climbs the ladder on the wing to catch it and come down. He drives and kicks out, and an offensive foul off the ball with the shot clock nearing its end. It goes against Dimitri Clerk, who, again, like Daniel Hankins-Sanford, is back into the lineup for UMass after missing some time with a lower body injury. But got caught off the ball there for an offensive foul. Fourth foul as a team on UMass. Turns things back over to Miami and sends us to a timeout on the floor. 11:26 remaining in the opening half. Miami has trailed all game long, but not by much. Currently, the Minutemen leading the RedHawks 17-16. Back to Rocket Arena after the break. You're listening to Miami basketball at the MAC Tournament on RedHawk Radio. $11:26 remaining opening half. UMass in front of Miami 17-16. And a tightly contested first 8.5 minutes here from Rocket Arena. Longtime hosts of the Mid-American Conference men's and women's basketball tournaments. Big congrats goes out to Glenn Box and the women's team, who, of course, were MAC regular season champions. Got quite a scare from the preseason favorites, Kent State, who dealt with some injury, ended up as the 8th seed as a 500 team going into the MAC tournament. But Miami survived yesterday on the women's side. There were 4 women's quarterfinal games yesterday. You get the day off, and then semis for both men and women are tomorrow. Coming out of the timeout, the RedHawks go right to left. A little bit of zone press here from from UMass rather, as they back out of it. Miami crosses the timeline on the right wing, and Suter brings it up for the RedHawks. Now it's Byers on the left wing. Hook over pass to the corner for Suter, and he stepped out of bounds. Had his heel on the sideline right in front of Frank Martin.
Seen that happen a few times this season inside Millett Hall. It's transitioning over to Rocket Arena here in Cleveland. The
Sidelines are a little wider here than they are at Millette. Maybe not on the bench side where Suter was, but certainly where the courtside seats are on the other end. Yeah, we have seen that a few times this season as Banks controls on the offensive end for UMass, swirling his right finger, trying to get the offense going here. Shot clock down to 8. Carbuccia between the rings, drives diagonally, long right-handed layup, doesn't fall, but an offensive rebound for Jingay. Gives it back out for Plaxid, drives short corner left, stops, inserts back into the paint for Jingay, and he just slides up and under to lay it in. Was looking for a pass, didn't find anything, and just pivoted, took one step, and laid it home to get the UMass lead to 3 at 19-16 with 10:21 to go in the opening half. Paint touch for Woolfolk, one-hand pass to the far wing. Byers fakes the 3, drives across, banks it off the window and in. Through a ton of contact, and now UMass gives it up under the defensive basket, rather. Pete Suter with a turnover under the offensive basket on the inbound, and he lays it up and in. And so just like that, Miami leads for the first time as UMass just fell asleep there under their own basket. Carbuccia drives up the baseline, stops at the block, gives out Plaxid, left wing 3 off the heel, long rebound out to the key. Pete Suter's got it for Miami waist high. Past the midway mark of the first half, Miami 20, UMass 19. Skaljack, left wing Trey, off the front iron, rebound though right to Byers, who punches it up in the air. The ball rainbows back to Luke Skaljack at the logo. He now prods it in for Pete Suter, who drove down through contact. Nothing called as he laid that one way short. Banks taking it the other way, bounces it underneath for Jingay, and he lost the ball, but it came right to Dimitri Clark to dunk it. And that's 2 plays where Miami feels they should have got the better end of it. Meanwhile, as Byers is all alone for 3. He misses it, but somehow an OBJ catch for Antoine Woolfolk under the basket. And he hooks it back up and in to get the RedHawks back in front.
And that's the athleticism that Antoine Woolfolk can show off. Wow, what a play by him to just leap up, kind of out of position for it, but still grabs it with that left hand and throws it back in.
8:48 to go first half, 22-21, Miami in front. A tarped fadeaway from the elbow by Plaxid doesn't fall, but another offensive rebound, this time for Jingay. And he hooks it over the top and in to get UMass back in front. 23-22, Minutemen, 8:33 to go, opening half. Suter rocking the bright green shoes like always. Holds high to the right. Now he finds Byers, who tried to insert it to the high post, looking for Skaljack on the left wing. It's stolen away. Park spot up 3. Doesn't go from the wing. Banks, rather, I should say, as that hits off the rim and bounces out of bounds. And so Miami gets a dead ball rebound. Tripping over my language today. A little earlier tip-off than we're used to. We'll have an even earlier tip-off tomorrow. We told you off the top after the last break that the women's team is playing, and semifinal action begins at 10 a.m. tomorrow when Miami will take on the Ohio Bobcats on the women's side. Have that game for you here on Red Hawk Radio. RedHawks go from right to left, brought into the front court by Luke Skaljack. Now it's Suter, left of the key. Tears it around some pressure, pokes it in for Woolfolk at the edge of the paint. Back out Skaljack, slashes across, kicks for Elmer on the right wing, drives it through the paint, threw it over the top, it didn't go. Woolfolk an offensive rebound, and he rises between 3 black jerseys to put it in with his left hand.
And Woolfolk up to 8 points, 4 for 4 from the field with 2 rebounds to go with it on 9 minutes of play. He's off to a hot start for the RedHawks.
Named honorable mention All-MAC yesterday. Miami back in front by 1 with 7:40 to go first half. Carbuccia passes up an open 3 from the top of the key. Gives for Banks on the right wing. He steps back, tries the tray. Missed it short. Rebound comes right back to him, though, on the wing. He now drives to the short corner. Underhand shovel pass to Bettiol, who was wide open in the paint, but he missed the layup. And a timeout called by Miami as... Is that Ian Elmer down there that is shaken up? And that is not good for the RedHawks. Ian Elmer is really shaken up, and that caused Travis Steele to call his use it or lose it timeout. And Elmer, who just looked very shaky, didn't seem like he was favoring any particular part of his body, just kind of wobbled over to the bench and took a seat. And Miami calls the timeout. So that is concerning for the RedHawks as Elmer sits down, and again, Miami trainer Chris Elmore leaps into action as we will take a break with 7:24 to go in the opening half here from Millette Hall, or from Rocket Arena rather, as the RedHawks lead UMass 24-23. It's Miami basketball coming out. And again, we'll check on the health of Ian Elmer when we return. Back in a moment. It's Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .7:24 remaining in the first half. Miami 24, UMass 23. Miami calling a 30-second timeout because of Ian Elmer being shaken up a little bit on that last play under the basket. The good news was as Elmer kind of wobbled to the bench, as we put it, he walked across to the other end of the bench. He removed his sock and his shoe, and it looks like he's getting the foot taped up, but he does exit for now. It appears that Elmer is doing all right and may come back into this game relatively soon. For now, Miami brings back on Trey Perry, Justin Kirby, and Almar Atlason. Obviously, Elmer out, Skaljack and Woolfolk exit too, as the RedHawks have the ball and lead it by 1. Suter from the right side of the key. Dribbles between his legs. A little shimmy shake. Just pulls up and hits the 3. First time we've seen Pete Suter really check his heat, and he knocks down the triple. Suter's got 5 points, and it's 27-23 Miami.
Player of the year in the MAC for a reason, and he shows off right there why. Behind the back, pulls up the J and knocks it down.
Carbucci accelerates down the right seam, but good defense after he threw it up over Perry's head. It falls off the backside of the rim. Miami's got the board. Atlason straightaway 3. Off the right side of the rim, that doesn't fall, and the rebound by Dwayne Wimbley as UMass brings it up from left to right. 6:33 to go first half. Miami by 4.
RedHawks getting a lot of good looks from beyond the arc. Usually you see these guys knock these down more often. A little slower from beyond the arc to start off this one.
Bettiol in the short corner right. Miami brings a double team at him. He wraps around a bounce pass to Carbuccia, touches it further along for Hankins Sanford, and he floats it up and in from the edge of the restricted area. Trims the lead back to 2 with 6:10 to go in the opening half. Crossover dribble for Perry, gives up top for Elmar Atlason, puts it on the deck, slides it through for Suter on the drive. He mows his man over, but a foul called on UMass. It's a block as Suter kicked out to the corner. And kind of both sides, I think, a little irritated there as Frank Martin thinks that should have been a charge. And for Miami, they kicked out to a wide open right corner 3, but the play was blown dead. And that's probably the right call there anyways, as the foul goes against Dwayne Wimbley. That's his second. Miami inbounds up top for Byers. He's alone for 3. It swirls the iron. 2 RedHawks get hands on the rebound. It's batted around. It falls to Kirby, and he missed the up and under. He's adamant he got hacked, but they play on as Carbucci has got it now to take it into the front court for the Minutemen.
It's been extra physical inside the paint so far in this first half between these two teams on both sides.
Banks holding with his heels on the logo. Gives to the far side for Jingay. Cuts it across to the key. Push pass to the right wing. Carbucci has got some space. Lets a 3 fly and hits it. That gets UMass back in front. UMass wasn't really shooting the ball great either from 3. That's their first make from behind the arc after an 0 for 4 start. They're back in the lead at 28-27. Perry drives past 4 different Minutemen, kicks to Byers, who's all alone in the corner, fakes the shot, drives in from the edge of the paint, floats up a runner that falls. And that gets Miami back in the lead at 29-28 with 5:05 to go in the opening half. Carbuccia standing on the advertisement high to the right. Lofts it into the short corner for Benny. He'll throw it all the way across. Suter nearly stolen, instead swiped away by Banks. He lifts up a 3. It doesn't fall. Offensive rebound. Jinge has it back now. Miami thought he traveled under the basket. And Travis Steele is in the ear of the official. It looked like he probably did, but it's reset for Carbuccia up top. He pulls up for 3. It rattles off. And a foul against the RedHawks working on Beniol, who was about to grab another offensive rebound. 9 offensive boards for UMass so far. And Ian Elmer is checking back into the game for Miami. So sigh of relief for the RedHawks as Antoine Woolfolk also comes back in. Pete Suter and Almar Atlason check out. Travis Steele is screaming at the official in his coach's box and now drops down to a knee as the inbound goes into the right corner for Hankins Sanford. Bounced up to the top for Carbuccia. Now Banks down the center of the paint through 3 RedHawks. He lifts up a righty layup that falls. Just see the craftiness from Marcus Banks, senior out of Hampton, Virginia, who again's coming off a game where he scored 31. He's got UMass in the lead by 1 with 4:15 to play in the opening half.
Banks Jr. can score from just about anywhere on the court, whether it's beyond the arc, in the mid-range, or inside the paint.
Byers cuts around the screen, goes underneath, looking for Kirby, who's swatted by Hankins Sanford. Threw his arms up in the air, looking for a foul, but none came. Carbuccia now drives it to the short corner, gives for Beniol. Byers goes down, and a blocking foul called. And that sends us to the under 4 timeout, and probably one that's needed for Miami just to cool their heads a little bit after they've gone a few possessions in a row where they felt some calls have not gone their way, and Travis Steele makes a beeline right to the officials, but chance to break up the action and kind of reset for the RedHawks for the final sequence of this first half. 3:55 to play in half number 1. 8th-seeded UMass leads Miami by 1. 30-29 your score. Back to Rocket Arena after the break. It's Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .355 to go in the opening half with UMass leading Miami 30-29. Lucas Poley, Gavin Stark with you. An official spent pretty much the entirety of that timeout basically in the Miami huddle explaining to various coaches some calls over that last sequence that Miami was not pleased with. Reminder, Jake Zirolli has a Red Hawk Radio halftime coming up. The early game, of course, here at the MAC tournament, preview of what's to come and preview of the second half, as well as a look around the national scoreboard. One of the best times of year for college basketball coming up next. That foul called on the floor, by the way, and just the third on the RedHawks as a team. Byers first, so UMass inbounds from the baseline. Miami nearly stole it. They got 2 deflections on the ball, but the loose ball went right to Beniol. Beniol hands it up top for Carbuccia. Went to the nail, backed it out on the right elbow, and a foul inside. Looks like Luke Skaljak picked it up. was tangled up with Jaden Jingay. So Skaljak picks up his first. Good news for Skaljak is that right hand, that left hand I should say, is no longer taped, which was the hand that was a little bit injured. The right hand, which was actually less injured, is now more taped up as UMass gets it back in. Short corner right, Betio with a long floater that rattled around on the rim for a moment, decided to drop down. Betio with 9 points, back into the game lead. And UMass leads it by 3, 32-29 with 3.5 to play in the first half. Byers all alone, left wing Trey. Bounces off the iron. Miami 3 of 15 from beyond the arc in this first half. UMass has got the rebound. Carbuccia from left to right. Banks took a spill away from the ball, a little slow to get to his feet. Meanwhile, the RedHawks get a deflection stolen away by Skaljak. 2-on-1 as Suter lays it up for Ian Elmer, and he catches, couldn't dunk it, but does lay it in.
Yeah, and he's back to full strength, it looks like, as he glides up to the rim. Flying coast to coast down the court, him and Suter.
This looks like Travis Steele and Marcus Banks actually collaborated there across enemy lines to get us a stoppage and mop up a spot right in front of Travis Steele, which is where Banks went down. Looks like a lot of moisture down there on the floor, so they get the mop out. Mop has the March Madness logo on it, by the way, which is kind of funny here. And the sort of start of March Madness, so to speak, I guess. 3:03 to go in the opening half. Miami down by 1.
That's what you play this tournament for, so it's fitting.
Kicks off Tuesday night in Dayton, Ohio. Over on the other side of this state as UMass inbounds it, and Carbuccia holds it at the top of the key, and a moving screen set by UMass. It's an offensive foul against Daniel Hankins Sanford. He picks up his first. That was the last foul to give for UMass, so Miami in the single bonus for the final 2:57 of the first half. They've got the ball. They go right to left, trailing by 1. Neither team has led by more than 4 in this game. Skaljak dribbling with the left hand. Slings it to the right for Byers. Back for Skaljak up top. Works his way through traffic. Scoop out for Suter straight away. Drives to the elbow. Steps back beyond the elbow on the right side with a fadeaway shot. Little strong. Rebound for UMass, and Carbuccia brings it up. Carbuccia dribbling waist high with the left hand. Picks it up. Finds Hankins Sanford. Straight line drive down the right seam. Doesn't go. Offensive rebound for UMass, but a foul called against the RedHawks on the initial shot, I believe. And Hankins Sanford is headed to the free throw line. The foul's against Brant Byers. That's his second.
Hankins Sanford, a 62% free throw shooter for the UMass Minutemen.
It's a shooting foul, so straight up 2 shots as he arcs up the first, and it goes right through the center of the net. The UMass lead to 2, 33-31. With 2:28 to play. Winner of this game moves on to face the winner of the 4-5 game, which is coming up next from Rocket Arena. That is Toledo and Bowling Green on the top of the bracket. Second one up for Hankins Sanford. Left it short. A hand on the rebound there for Jingay, but 3 RedHawks neutralize him, and Elmer ends up with the board for the RedHawks. 2-point UMass lead. Suter, feet planted between the circles. He hands off for Kirby. Now it's Elmer, right side of the key. Picks up his dribble. Gives back up top for Skaljak. Now Elmer on the wing. Double team comes out for UMass. It releases off. Give it inside for Suter. Paint touch. Gives out for Skaljak. Swings across. Left wing 3 for Elmer. Buttery. Pure for Ian Elmer. He drills the 3 to get Miami in front. And it's 34-33 RedHawks with under 2 to play in the first half. Trying for a quick answer the other way. Carbuccia straight down the left seam. He put it off the window too strong. And the RedHawks take it the other way. Kirby shot fake on the right side. Gives for Woolfolk, further along for Skaljak, top of the key. Spins at the MAC logo, fadeaway long 2. Rattles off the right side of the rim. Jingay took a hard fall, but does get the rebound and outlets as Carbuccia takes it ahead. Suter now goes down under the basket as Banks has a wide open lane to just run it down the left side and lay it in. Bodies flying all over the place. I think this floor has gotten pretty slippery, it looks like, as both teams are having trouble with their footing. Minute 18 to go first half. UMass 35, Miami 34. Short corner left. Suter bounces it in for Woolfolk. He hangs up, catches the contact and the foul. It's off the window and in. And Woolfolk's got a chance for an old-fashioned 3.
What a half for Antoine Woolfolk. 5 for 5 now from the field. Up to 10 points. The first scorer for the RedHawks to get to double digits. First scorer in the entire game to get to double digits.
Woolfolk was scoring a ton to start the year, and then at the beginning of MAC play, things kind of cooled off after an explosion against Toledo for him, where he led the team in scoring. But his scoring back up to end the year. He finishes the regular season just over 10 points a game in his senior year. The Cleveland native out of Brush High School puts up the shot and gets a lucky bounce as that sat on the back rim for a moment and fell through. 37-35 Miami leads. And Antoine Woolfolk, who played for Red Hawk legend Chet Mason here in Cleveland at Brush High School, gets the Red Hawks back in front. 1:03 to go first half. Bettiol hands off left side of the key for Banks. Suter punched it out from behind, then Superman dove into the courtside seats trying to get it. Did not, as the ball goes out of bounds, but you love to see that effort from Pete Suter, and he's got a smile on his face as he gets back up to his feet. And if there's any indication as they go and mop the spot where Suter went down about how slippery the floor is, that looked like a slip and slide. Suter slid probably about 10 feet along the floor after he dove after that ball. UMass puts it back in, 12 on the shot clock. KJ Parker dribbles it down the left side, pulls up just outside the paint, and knocks down the jumper. So Miami can play this for a 2-for-1 here. Shot and game clock separated by about 18 seconds. Travis Steele saying go, go, go here as Trey Perry holds on up top, gives for Elmer on the left side. Steps back, tees up a left wing three. It's in and out, but Suter chases down the offensive rebound, and now Miami resets up top. 30 seconds to go in the first half. Game tied at 37. Suter switching his dribbles from his left to his right hand. Waves for help up top. Woolfolk races out to get there. Now he peels off. Suter overhead pass at 4 on the shot clock. Finds Elmer, drive through 2 defender, stops his feet, pulls up in traffic. Knocked it off the back rim at the end of the shot clock and knocked it out of bounds by UMass with 11.5 seconds to go. So the Minutemen, barring a turnover, will not get the chance to get another possession here. Miami called timeout. The scoreboard was showing 4 timeouts. Travis Steele, when Ian Elmer was shaken up earlier, it looked like signaled timeout 32nd to the official, but they must have not charged him with it because Miami had the ball and one of their players was injured. And so I believe, I don't think Travis Steele would have called that timeout had it not been the use it or lose it. So Miami does call the timeout. The scoreboard again indicates that was Miami's first timeout. So they did not charge the Redhawks for that one earlier on in the half. And now they'll have the ball on the baseline on the offensive end. 11.5 seconds to go. Shot clock off. Tie game at 37 and chance to get the whiteboard out for Travis Steele.
And the Redhawks dribbled down the court and across the timeline with 44 seconds on the game clock, and now have it with 11.5 as the shot clock is dark. So this is a 44-second possession for the Redhawks to end the second half, more than likely.
It comes with 2 offensive rebounds on this possession. Suter got the first for Miami and then deflected out of bounds for a dead ball rebound for the Redhawks before the timeout. So Miami brings out the 5. Trey Perry replacing Luke Skaljak. That's the only difference compared to the starters as the inbound comes up top for Ian Elmer. He gives to Suter with 8. Dribbling with his right hand, backs all the way out to the brink of the half-court line. 3 seconds, 2 and 1. Suter just pulls up from range. It doesn't go. Byers got on the offensive glass and a whistle. And did I hear a foul call? Both teams are starting to exit off the floor. Looked like the far official put his fist up to call for a foul as Byers got thrown down. Miami's whole bench is pleading for a foul call, and now I think the officials are saying to UMass, stay on your bench here. Byers went up for that offensive rebound. Whatever Miami drew up there clearly did not work out because it just ended up in a Suter step-back 3 from the top of the arc. But it looked like there was still some time left when Byers went up for the offensive rebound, and he got a lot of contact, and I think he got thrown down by a UMass player who missed a block out. They've put 15 minutes on the clock, but I would not be surprised here if Miami, who was in the bonus, is maybe sent to the free throw line with a couple tenths left on the clock as the officials take another look.
And initially, Byers the only player really in good position to grab that ball, but kind of got hit and fell to the ground, unable to secure the basketball and put up the second chance effort.
So all 3 officials of this Mid-American Conference crew crowded around the monitor in between the benches. Again, the UMass walk-ons on the end of the bench were like already in the locker room by the time that the officials said hold on, and they had to be pulled back out. It was tough to hear a whistle. The clock just ran out, and again, it really wouldn't matter much except for the fact that, I guess you get another foul, and a UMass player in Miami would get free throws. Officials coming over to each huddle to signal, and they put .5 back on the clock. So this should be a 1-and-1 here for Brant Byers.
And that's why you compete for every rebound, Luke. You get an opportunity now to shoot free throws here.
I think now they called the foul on Byers. They just announced over the PA, and Travis Steele has just got his hand on his forehead right now. He cannot believe that as he's yelling and screaming. UMass is not in the bonus. And that's Byers' third foul. That was the sixth foul as a team on Miami, so UMass will inbound from right underneath their defensive basket. You could maybe try to get a heave up with .5 left. But that is a brutal break. What ended up looking like Miami had a shot to take the lead turns into Byers' third foul with the review. So now UMass gets set to put it back in. KJ Parker inbounds. 4 players in a horizontal line in front of him. It's a baseball pass that goes all the way down to the other end, and it doesn't get touched and goes out of bounds.
What a mistake.
That is a huge miscue for UMass, as now the ball comes all the way back to that same spot, and it's Miami who gets to drop a catch-and-shoot play. They take out Trey Perry. They bring on Luke Skaljak, and they bring on Brant Byers as well here late to take Justin Kirby's spot. Wow, so the RedHawks now do have a chance to bid for the lead right before halftime. Half a second left, got to get something up quick. Skaljak set to inbound. Woolfolk, Elmer, Byers, and Suter out there. They get the go-ahead and ready for play. Skaljak looking, puts it up, and Woolfolk caught it and puts it in at the bucket all in one motion. An alley-oop, and Miami takes advantage of a costly UMass mistake to jump in front at the break, 39-37, and it caps off just a brilliant first half for Antoine Woolfolk, who's got a baker's dozen after 20 minutes to lead all scorers.
I've never seen a half end like that in my entire life. I've watched a lot of basketball. I've never seen a half end quite just like that. What a mistake by UMass. I mean, that turnover causes 2 points right there as they get the foul on the one end on Byers. So Byers now up to 3. That's the bad part for Miami, but at the end of the day, you still find 2 points.
And a play that is probably going to go overlooked there is on that inbounds play, they tried to baseball pass it down to Bedial, and almost like you were going for a rebound, it was Woolfolk who essentially blocked him out and prevented him from running down to the other end of the floor to just touch the ball. Because if you touch the ball, then, of course, the inbound would come to the other side. Even if the ball ended up out of bounds, it would run some time off the clock. Miami does not get a chance to do what they just did, which is score at the buzzer and sneak ahead of UMass by 2 at the half. No team led by more than 4 points. Both teams' biggest lead was 4 in that opening half. That was a really well-played first 20 minutes. Miami overall not shooting the ball well. You'd like for them to rebound the basketball a little bit better, especially on the defensive end. UMass is currently over 50% on the offensive glass. They've got 9 offensive rebounds to Miami's 7 defensive rebounds. But outside of that, you figure a team with this much offensive talent, Gavin, is going to shoot the ball a little bit better in the second half. You do that, you rebound, you win the game.
Yeah, I mean, what does Travis Steele always say? Water's going to find its level, and I think that's kind of the message as you head into halftime. You had a lot of good looks from beyond the arc. You sit here at 4 for 18, but I think it's been about 15 really, really good looks. And honestly, 2 of the 3s that they made were one of the more better covered three-point attempts that they took. So, you know, this team's got to continue to take their shots, continue to find good looks, and they're going to fall here eventually in the second half. And if you're able to rebound just a little bit better, it feels like only Woolfolk's the guy really in the paint that can just even fight with Bedial for rebounds. If another guy can step up, maybe Omar Atlason in the second half, and get some rebounds and really rebound tough for this team, I think you're going to find yourself in a semifinal spot tomorrow.
Leading scorer in the first half was Antoine Woolfolk with 13. Something to keep an eye on for Miami, of course, is Brant Byers, who played the second most minutes of any RedHawk in that first half. Picked up 2 late fouls and now has 3 for the game. And, of course, got the foul with half a second left that ended up in hindsight benefiting Miami. You never know what can happen as the RedHawks get the last bucket at the buzzer, and they pull ahead of UMass 39-37 after 20 minutes. We'll take a break. When we come back, Jake Zirolli's got you covered with your RedHawk Radio halftime. Gavin Stark back with me for the second half in just about 15 minutes' time. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Basketball at the MAC Tournament on RedHawk Radio.
Welcome back inside of Rocket Arena in Cleveland, Ohio for your Red Hawk Radio halftime segment. My name is Jake Zirolli. I was with you for pregame, be with you again for postgame, and I'm with you now for halftime. A tumultuous first half. Miami leads 39-37 when it's all said and done. Back and forth the entire time, jabs upon jabs. Miami with the slight advantage at the moment. But a very evenly contested half on both sides. Let's get into your stats straight away here as we are about 12 minutes away from getting second half action started. Your points leader for Miami is Antoine Wolfuk with 13 points. Wolfuk having one of the best games of the season so far, 6 for 6 from the floor, including one free throw made on an and one. Had that lob thrown up to him with half a second left in the first half and just tapped it right in to put Miami up 2 at the break. A big play there. It did come at the cost of Brant Byers' third foul when all was said and done, but 2 points is 2 points. Miami goes into the locker room with the lead. Wolfuk contributing a third of Miami's points so far, playing a great half, is the big man from Cleveland. For UMass, the points leader is Leonardo Bediol with 9. Bediol had a stretch where he had UMass's last 5 points. He's 3 of 4 in his last 4 from the floor. 4 of 6 in total on the day, plus a half trip to the free throw line, making 1 out of 2. Bediol been somewhat limited by Miami, but not too well. He also has 5 rebounds, which leads the team. 2 turnovers as well, though, for the Italian, who's played 16 out of the 20 minutes. He's kind of had his way down there in the post. Miami's starting to limit him towards the last 8 or so minutes of that half. They're starting to catch up with him, understand his tendencies for the game. They may change that up in the second half, have him play a little bit of a different role. But he's been pretty solid this half, 9 points, 5 rebounds, also leading the team in the boards category. In the assist game, in the rebound game, just said Bediol is the rebound leader. Also with 4 rebounds is Jaden Jigwe and Marcus Banks. With 3 is Daniel Hankins-Sanford and Dwayne Wimbley. And then with 2 rebounds is Danny Carbuccia. For the RedHawks, rebound leader is Antoine Wolfuk as well with 4 rebounds. So 13 and 4 for Wolfuk, leading the team in both those categories. Also with 2 rebounds is Elmer, Suter, and Kirby. With 1 is Brant Byers. In the assist game, Luke Skaljak, the leader, no points but 5 assists. He's 0 for 3 from the floor, including 2 missed three-pointers. But he's made his mark in a different way with 5 assists and a steal. 1 of 3 RedHawks steals, the other 2 being from Elmer and Suter. But Skaljak has made his impact known in a different way, moving without the ball really well, giving options to the rest of the offense, and providing 5 assists, including the one to Wolfuk on that lob at the end of the half. For UMass, the assist leader is Danny Carbucci with 3 assists. After him, Jaden Jigwe has 2, and Marcus Banks has 1. Carbucci also adding 7 points on the day as well. Defensive statistics for UMass, Isaiah Placide has a steal, and Daniel Hankins-Sanford has a block. For Miami, just those 3 steals, no blocks for the RedHawks so far. Going into some general team stats, Miami 42.1% from the floor. UMass winning that stat at 53.1%. 17 of 32, some high percentage shots, really. That's what makes that up. For UMass, they've had some very high percentage shots. Their shot selection has been much better than Miami's. That's led them to a far superior field goal percentage. From three-point, Miami 4 of 18 for 22.2%. UMass 1 of 7 for 14.3%. From the free throw line, Miami a perfect 3 for 3. UMass splitting 2 trips, 1 from Hankins-Sanford, 1 from Bediol, so 2 for 4 with 50%. Total rebounding, UMass winning the rebound battle, 23 to 15, pardon me. With 9 offensive rebounds to Miami's 8, 14 to Miami's 7 on the defensive glass. Turnovers, UMass has 7 to Miami's 2, so Miami's taking care of the basketball pretty well. The only turnovers have come from Peter Suter, who stepped out of bounds down there, and Brant Byers. But 7 turnovers from UMass, including 2 each from Bediol and Dimitri Clerc. Points in the paint, UMass leads 26 to 22. Points off turnovers, Miami leads 6 to 2. In the foul game, the real one to focus on here is Brant Byers with 3 fouls, 2 quick fouls at the end of the half. Not what you want to see at all. So one of the Miami starters in some foul trouble. Omar Atlason with 2 fouls as well. Luke Skaljak with the 1. The rest all clean. So 6 total fouls for Miami. For UMass, 2 fouls apiece for Leonardo Bettiol and Dimitri Clerc. So good that there's 2 on Bettiol. Could see him out of the game soon. Danny Carbucci and Daniel Hankins Sanford each with 1, as well as KJ Parker adding a foul of his own. Looking around the country now. No other games have started, but about to get started at 12 o'clock. There's NC State against the 10th seed Virginia in the ACC quarterfinal. Also at 12 o'clock in the Big East quarterfinal, Providence taking on 13th ranked St. John's. The other game that will get started while the second half of this one is going on is 7th ranked Iowa State taking on 16th ranked Texas Tech in the quarterfinal of the Big 12. The rest will get started after this one concludes. Some takeaways now for the second half, things that have to happen for both teams. Miami has got to start shooting the 3 better. Only 22.2% from 3. 4 of 18 from beyond the arc. That cannot stay if they want to win this game, if they want to really pull away. They've got to start shooting the 3 better. They've been one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. They have to tap back into that if they want to take care of this game. And they also have to limit Leonardo Bettiol. You know, it helps that he has 2 fouls, but 9 points, 5 rebounds, and he's pretty much having his way in the post down there. That has to change. They cannot let Leonardo Bettiol dominate the post as best they can. He is one of the 2 biggest players on the court, the other one being Antoine Wolfig. Wolfig's done a solid job on him down there, but Wolfig only having played 14 minutes, he may get an uptick in usage down there. We'll see, though, because Miami they must limit Leonardo Bettiol's impact if they want to stay in this game, if they want to keep him from beating them all on his own. For Miami, those are their 2 takeaways. For UMass, sorry, I'm a little distracted. They're showing the top 10 plays of the regular season on the Jumbotron here, and they just showed Peter Suter's game winner against Buffalo. So sorry if I sound a bit distracted, but that montage is done. UMass's takeaways for me, they've also have to start shooting the 3 better, or they have to abandon the 3. They're 1 of 7 so far, 14.3% from beyond the arc. They don't need the 3 to win this game, but if they are going to take 3s, they better make them. So they either got to get better shot selection or to stop shooting the 3 at all and just start grinding out possessions, getting better shots, and chewing more time off the clock. And Marcus Banks has got to start heating up. He's only got 6 points so far, 0 for 3 from 3. Has not made a trip to the line yet. 4 rebounds and an assist as well for him. But the leading minute getter only with 6 points. Your 17 points a game scorer, you got to get him to be freed up a little bit more. Luke Skaljak and Peter Suter, among others, have played great defense on him. They've got to let him. UMass has got to manufacture space for him so that he can create shots because he's one of the best shot creators on this team. With 4 minutes to go until the start of the second half, that will be all for the halftime show. My name is Jake Zirolli. Thank you very much for tuning into this halftime segment. I will give it over to Luke Poley and Gavin Stark will be with you in just a few minutes to take you through the second half of action. Will Miami advance and continue the perfect season, or will UMass pull off the upset? We'll see in 20 short minutes. I'll be back with you for the post-game segment. Should be a great second half for this one. Stay tuned.
Just about a minute away from getting started with our second half here from Cleveland Rocket Arena, the site. 2026 Mid-American Conference Men's Tournament. Top-seeded Miami leads 8th-seeded UMass 39-37 at the break. Luke West, Poley, Gavin Stark back with you as the top seed in Miami went back and forth. Nobody led by more than 4 points. RedHawks got an absolute gift of a final bucket from UMass after it appeared the first half was over. Then it appeared Miami might get a chance at the free throw line as Brant Byers got fouled underneath the basket. It turned out actually upon review that the foul was on Byers, and so then UMass inbounded under their defensive basket. They threw the inbound away without it being touched, and Miami got a catch-and-shoot play to take the lead after 20 minutes. Gavin, overall third meeting against UMass. Of course, it's hard to beat a team 3 times, but what I think is most surprising is Miami has now played 2.5 pretty much identical games against UMass this season. The RedHawks have played tight with UMass this year. They've gotten crushed on the glass in both of the previous games. They got beat pretty bad on the glass in the first 20 minutes of this one. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but if you can remedy that in the second half, at least make the rebounding battle close, some of the threes will start to fall. It feels like you're in a pretty good position.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hate the position that you're in at all right now. If you're Miami, you kind of knew this was going to be a dogfight going in. You knew Bettiol and the rest of these guys are going to make it tough inside of the paint to get rebounds in. They've done that in that first half, winning that margin by 8. 23 rebounds for UMass in total, 15 for Miami. They won that battle, but Miami 4 for 18. You're still up 2 going in the second half. I mean, you'll take it.
UMass in the black uniforms. They switch going right to left now in the second half. Miami left to right. Again, a really, really good crowd. Really impressed with this crowd here for an 11 a.m. tip on a Thursday. And almost all Miami, and geography, of course, plays a part in that. As we move underway in the second half. UMass from right to left, and Danny Carbuccia starts things off. 7 first-half points for him. He's got it on the right wing with Luke Skaljak holding arms overhead to guard him. Comes to the left elbow for Jingye. He works his way around the paint. He runs over Byers, and it's an offensive foul.
This time Byers does get the foul to go his way.
Foul actually goes against Bettiol there, as they called that, I think, on maybe a little pick that he set underneath. And I was going to say, if Byers stepped up and tried to take a charge there on 3 fouls, that'd be quite a gamble. So instead, it's just on a little bit of a pick play. And then bringing it up the floor, Luke Skaljak just went over and back. Miami was getting into the half-court set, and I think Luke Skaljak just kind of lost sight of where he was on the floor, took a step up, and then stopped, and then just kind of took a step barely over the line and really took everybody off guard on the floor, including us, as Miami coughs it up. Just the 3rd turnover for the RedHawks as a team. That was a major part of their strength in the first half. Now it's Banks to the left wing, wraps it around into the post, looking for Jingye, straight into the teeth of the Miami defense. He lifts one up over the top. It doesn't go, and he fouls Byers, going for the rebound. That was on Jaden Jingye, as Frank Martin is really animated on the UMass bench, as he typically is at his player. 40 seconds in, no points yet in the second half. Miami leads UMass by 2. Maybe now finally the chance for the RedHawks to get their first full possession as Suter brings it into the front court. Elmer calls for a screen. He instead gives it to Antoine Woolfolk, stepping across the 3-point arc, going down the middle. Kicks it out now on the left wing for Ian Elmer, who waves Luke Skaljak inside. 10 on the shot clock. Elmer comes around to screen right, works down the lane, runs over his man. Blocking foul called as he lays it up, and it falls off the heel of the rim. Nearly an offensive, or nearly an and one, I should say, for Ian Elmer, but instead he's got 2 shots at the free throw line. Foul against Carbuccia. Already 3 fouls racked up by UMass in the first minute and 1 second of the second half. 2 shots coming up for Ian Elmer.
And Ian Elmer does just such a good job behind the arc, shooting it so well at 40%. And it attracts defenders to guard him really tight around the perimeter. So he's able to get that quick first step, get around them, and drive into the rim. Now he draws a foul there as Boucher just steps up a half a second late.
First free throw spun out on him. Second one dropped through by Elmer. 40-37 Miami leads. Elmer's got 8 points. Second on the team behind only Antoine Woolfolk. Carbuccia standing at the right angle, extended. Pushes it for Banks at the top of the key. High arcing pass, snared in the corner by Hankins Sanford. Hands it back on the wing for Marcus Banks. Pivoting up top, gives to Bettiol along the left flank. Shouldering into the paint with 4 seconds on the shot clock. Hop step to the far side, rips it through, tosses a shot up. They wave the shot off, and the foul is called on the floor against Pete Suter. That's the first foul on Suter, first foul of the second half on Miami. Minute 29 to go in the second half. Minute 29 into the second half, and Miami leads UMass by 3. Right side baseline inbound for Banks. He bounces it in for Bettiol, who goes straight to the rim. He laid it up. It doesn't go. He tries to go back up, and Woolfolk turned him away but fouled him. Woolfolk with a physical swing at the basketball there, and must have just caught some arm underneath. As now Miami starting to pick up some fouls. They grab 2 in this latest sequence, and that sends Leonardo Bettiol to the free throw stripe.
And Woolfolk has a clean block, but his hand goes down farther through after making contact with the basketball, and that draws the foul there on Bettiol. It's only his first personal foul for Woolfolk, so not too much damage for him.
Bettiol misses the first free throw long.
1 for 3 on the day now, Luke.
He's got kind of an awkward-looking free throw shot. He almost grabs both sides of the ball like he's throwing it in while playing soccer. Of course, the native of Italy, he tosses up the second one, and that bangs off the back rim and in. 40-38, the Miami lead. 18:25 to go in the second half. As Pete Suter runs it across the timeline on the right wing, comes off a screen by Woolfolk, accelerates to the short corner, gives out Skaljak, left-handed 3, it goes! Skaljak from the wing knocks it down, his first points after an 0 for 3 start from the field, and it's the largest lead for either team today, but just 5 for Miami.
And what a job by Luke Skaljak to just be ready for that pass there. He goes up with it right away, lifts up and nails that 3.
Garbucci, a right elbow extended. Bounce pass is punched away from Bettiol. RedHawks out and running in transition, and Skaljak heads down the left seam and lays it in. Oh. Timeout UMass as Frank Martin wastes no time. Lead up to 7, and this crowd gets on their feet inside Rocket Arena.
Oh, what a pass there by Peter Suter. A little bit of a hiccup as Elmer loses it for a second, swings it over to Suter, and Suter looks ahead for a flying Skaljak, and a bullet bounce past him, and it is laid in perfectly for him to deliver the bucket.
17:51 remaining in the second half, and UMass calls their first timeout of the second half, 45-38. Miami in front of the Minutemen. UMass, the team that got the final bye in the Mid-American Conference regular season because of the odd number of teams in the league this year. There was always, on any given game night, one team that wouldn't play, and for UMass, that was the final day of the regular season on Friday. So the Minutemen's last game was midweek when they trounced Ohio without 2 of their top post players, and they out-rebounded the Bobcats in that game as well. You figured with those guys back, UMass in pretty good position, a team that snapped a lengthy skid of 6 straight losses, including 3 in overtime. That all started, by the way, with a triple overtime loss against Coastal Carolina, which UMass fans may know. That is, I think, one of the best games played in college basketball this year. Something like 4 or 5 buzzer beaters in that game. Absolutely ridiculous shooting down the stretch. And the second game of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge where UMass fell, and that really sent them into a tailspin down the stretch of the season where they were in danger of missing the conference tournament. Picked to finish 5th in the league. They were up and down, never really threatened to be up near the top of the conference because of a slow start to MAC play, but kind of held their own through the middle part of the conference season, where it felt like they were safely in until they weren't, and got some help down the stretch. Ball State finally delivering the knockout punch on the final day of the regular season that put UMass in over Central Michigan into the MAC tournament. And again, their first MAC tournament ever as the first-year member. We're showing Ron Harper up on the scoreboard, of course, one of the all-time greats who played at Miami in the mid-'80s.
And the thing with UMass, sorry to cut you off, Luke, but the thing with UMass is they had that, weekend off last weekend. When they beat Ohio, they didn't know if that would be their last game playing for the season. They had no idea. They had to sit on their couch Friday and Saturday and just hope that they would get into this tournament.
So UMass had to practice all week, and again, they got a couple of their guys back, and Dimitri Clerk and Daniel Hankins Sanford practiced with them, but to your point, practiced with them through the back half of last week, having no idea whether or not their season was actually over. It was not, and now here they are competing, and again, it is a level playing field. There are no buys. Everybody, no matter how you performed in the regular season, is playing on a neutral floor and playing in the quarterfinals here in the MAC, where really anything can happen. So UMass has fallen behind by 7, largest lead for either team today, and they take it from right to left coming out of the timeout as Carbuccia brings it up the floor. A blue left shoe, a pink right shoe for him, and now he crosses over his dribble and gives to Marcus Banks on the left wing. Back up top it comes to Carbuccia. The freshman dribbles between the legs, 9 on the shot clock. Back to the near wing for Banks, high arcing pass to the far side. Elmer jumps in the way and deflects it safety style for the former high school football star to Taft in downtown Cincinnati. Knocks it out with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. 17:27 to go in the second half with Miami up 7. Carbuccia set to inbound it from the right side baseline. Slaps the basketball. Pieces start to move. He gives to Banks in the corner. Fadeaway 3 with 2 RedHawks in his face. Got on the rim but didn't fall. Byers soars in for the rebound. And he's fouled by Bettiol, who's got some words either for him or the official walking the other way as Byers is helped to his feet. It's the second foul on Bettiol and already 4 on UMass, and the opening 2.5 plus here in the second.
Great job by Byers to just lift up and high point that basketball. Great position there. Draws a foul and grabs the rebound there.
Skaljak crossing over on his dribble, crosses the timeline, came into the second half with no points. He's got 5 now. Elmer on the right elbow extended back up to the logo for Byers. Straight line drive down the right side. Left it off at the doorstep for Woolfolk, but it's off his fingertips and out of bounds. And Miami turns it over for the 4th time.
Miami had a big opportunity there as Bettiol was out of the paint, and Woolfolk, if he was going to catch that pass, would have had a mismatch inside.
RedHawks, who are the second best team in the MAC at taking care of the basketball in the regular season, have been doing so for the most part today. UMass back to the offensive end. Carbuccia, the short corner right, guarded by 2 RedHawks, climbs up the baseline, kicks near corner for Jingay, slashes straight across the paint, rises from 5 feet, doesn't fall. Offensive rebound by Bettiol in a crowd. He puts it back up and in with an overhead hook shot to trim the lead to 5. Suter across the timeline on the right wing, shoulders into Marcus Banks and now stops his feet beyond the 3-point arc. Gives straight away for Ian Elmer. Top of the arc, chest pass for Byers. Quickly touches it, high post to the left for Woolfolk. Backing down on Hankins Sanford. 10 on the shot clock, 1 arm sling to the near side for Byers. His shot fake doesn't bite the UMass defender. Handoff for Skaljak now as he cuts across the paint. To the far corner for Woolfolk. He steps inside the 3-point arc. Got a jump shot up and got fouled as the shot 360s the rim and falls out. Miami played hot potato with under 10 seconds on the shot clock there, and Woolfolk caught that in the corner, drove as far in as he could, and had to pull up. Shot nearly fell, but Danny Carbuccia, rather they initially had Carbuccia, now they switch it to Daniel Hankins Sanford, picks up the foul, and that's Hankins Sanford's 3rd. As Antoine Woolfolk goes to the free throw line, bounces the ball twice, rainbows the first shot up in the air, and it's off the rim, and no good. Hit the backside there a little bit strong. Antoine Woolfolk runs to the bench to go grab a towel. He wipes his face off. Had some sweat in the eyes, I guess, there as Justin Kirby checks back on for Brant Byers, who takes a seat. Miami happy to play Byers for the first 3 minutes plus of the second half, despite the 3 fouls. Now he gets a rest. Second free throw up in the air for Woolfolk and through the strings. Omar Atlason now takes Antoine Woolfolk's spot as the lead goes up to 6. Miami 46, UMass 40, 16-12 to go second half. And the Minutemen in the black uniforms take it from right to left as Danny Carbuccia, the true freshman from White Plains, New York, running the point, brings it up the floor. Hands off on the left wing for Jaden Jingay. Now it comes up top for Leonardo Bettiol. Bettiol hands it for Marcus Banks. Prize towards the paint, dumped it off at the bucket for Bettiol, who rose up for the layup, and Suter fouled him. Thought he had a clean block as he punched the ball away, but got some arm there. Suter picks up the foul. Rather, actually, they get Kirby, who was there for some help. So I think Suter had the block, but Kirby reached in there to pick up the foul. And that will bring us to a timeout on the floor. 15:58 to go in the second half. Miami trying to keep UMass at arm's length, leading 46-40 in the 1-8 game to open up the men's slate here at the Mid-American Conference Tournament. We'll return to Rocket Arena after the timeout. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. 15:58 remaining in the second half. Miami leads UMass 46-40. Playing as the top seed here in Cleveland. RedHawks with their first regular season title in the MAC since 2005. And UMass, as you expected them to do, giving Miami a good game here. As Leonardo Bettiol gets set to take some free tosses. 12 points, 7 boards. It's pretty much been a free double-double against a lot of teams this year, but certainly against Miami as he tosses the first shot up, and it banks off the right side of the rim and in for Bettiol, who was announced as one of 3 All-MAC selections for UMass when the men's awards were announced yesterday. Miami, of course, cleaned house as Bettiol drops in the second free throw. Pete Suter, MAC Player of the Year and first team All-MAC. RedHawks got Ian Elmer and Antoine Woolfolk. The All-MAC selections. MAC Coach of the Year was Travis Steele. As Miami was having trouble with some pressure there, just passing the ball in the backcourt. They took a 10-second. Again, that ball's got to be touched across the timeline, not just get across the timeline. And that pass hit the fingers of Almar Atlason in the front court right after the shot clock had hit 20 and 10 seconds had come off. So UMass gets it back. They've got a chance to cut it back to 1 possession.
There was no urgency for Miami right there. Just felt like they were just kind of taking their time in the backcourt.
Wembley gives it out, right elbow for Bettiol, pivoting around, looking for an option, finds it by Carbuccia up top. 3 seconds on the timer. Carbuccia runs it to the bucket, gives out right corner. Wembley, fadeaway 3, doesn't go at the end of the shot clock. Kirby's got the rebound for Miami. Short bounce pass Suter. Goes straight line up the right side. Thought about the long 2. Instead gives for Kirby. His right corner 3 is good. Justin Kirby knocks down the triple. He's got 2 makes from beyond the arc for all 6 of his points. Lead is 7 again.
He knows how to run a floor. Justin Kirby gets to the spot that he needs to be at in the corner, and Peter Suter finds him.
Bettiol, long righty shot from the right block. Hits off the inner half of the rim and falls out. RedHawks have the rebound. Skaljak up the right end of the floor. Skaljak holding the ball in his left tip. Pushes across for Atlason. Has it back now. Goes all the way across for Elmer. Fakes the 3 from the left flank. Instead it's a short bounce pass for Suter. Works his way to the post. Picks up his dribble with 9 on the shot clock. Back up top for Skaljak. Shot fake with 6. Gives up top Suter. Open 3. Yes, sir! Pete Suter starting to talk the talk as the lead is 10 for Miami. Suter's got 8 points and the 6th assist of the game for Luke Skaljak as the lead's in double figures.
Oh, Peter Suter knew it was in before it even went in. He turned his head and started running down the court and making some gestures. What a shot by Suter. What confidence.
Banks slides by Suter, lays it up under him. It doesn't go, but a foul on the rebound. Who's it on? It is on Miami. And it's against Almar Atlason underneath. That's the 4th foul as a team on the RedHawks. And Almar Atlason picks up his 3rd. So Byers and Atlason with 3 for Miami. 14-13 to go in the second half. And again, in near identical games coming out of the second half, Miami has stretched leads against UMass. They've struggled to keep it this way for very long. This has typically been a point where in the previous meetings, UMass would go on a run to get this back down to 1 to 2 possessions. Pete Suter checks out for the RedHawks. Antoine Woolfolk back in. 20 on the shot clock. Left wing baseline inbound for Wembley. And he rainbows it into the short corner for Jinge. Jinge bounces it up top for Carbuccia. 1-touch pass to the inside for Bettiol, who wriggles past Antoine Woolfolk and lays it in with a lefty finger roll. Bettiol's got 16. He's the only UMass player with more than 7. Skaljak plays catch on the right wing with Atlason. Now he pushes it down to the block for Woolfolk, who tried to give it out for Atlason and lost the ball. It's because Jinge slapped him on the arm. He's called for the foul. Jaden Jinge picks up his 2nd. And that's the last foul to give for UMass. They've got 6 as a team. So 13:49 to go in the second half. And Miami could potentially get to the free throw line a lot to close out regulation. Skaljak throws it in up high for Ian Elmer. RedHawks wrap it around the arc to the far corner. Shot fake for Kirby. Caught some contact going through and just juggled the ball all over the place. Left it on the deck. Scraped up by Carbuccia. Goes right to left. Carbuccia crossover dribble. Bounces into the paint for Jinge, who goes up and under on the baseline. He's fouled. A hard foul there by Almar Atlason, as that's number 4 for Atlason.
one of those that where Allison was just completely beat. He has no business with 3 fouls going up for that and making it any contest, and he draws a blatant foul, and now he's going to sit on the bench for a while with 4. I mean,
and potentially, could sit the bench for even longer as the officials go to the monitor to take a look at this for a potential flagrant upgrade. 4th foul on Atlason. That's the 15th foul for Miami. So as well as the RedHawks have done it, getting UMass into some foul trouble as a team, UMass has at least spread it out quite a bit. Hank and Sanford the only player with 3. For Miami, Byers with 3, and now Atlason with 4. And potentially a flagrant incoming depending on the judgments of this officiating crew. 13:35 to go in the second half. Tyrese Proctor's in the house. He's sitting courtside, and he gets a nice ovation here in his home gym. Member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Played a wild one last night in Orlando. Ultimately, a close loss in that game. 52-44. Miami leading UMass with 13:35 to go. The officials have come off the monitor. And we'll get our public announcement.
If you watched that Ohio game last Friday, and there was 4 of those called, 4 flagrant fouls on Miami alone.
And this is upgraded to a flagrant foul. Travis Steele's pleading his case that Atlason was doing as he's gesturing, which is currently putting both hands kind of horizontally over the player, probably just arguing that he tried to get a hard foul so that Jingay couldn't get a shot up, but instead it is upgraded to a flagrant, and Jingay is going to the free throw line. 2 shots and the ball here for UMass. Jingay, who's a 69.5% free throw shooter. First trip today, puts up the first one and drops it in all alone at the free throw line. 52-45, the Miami advantage as Jingay picks up his 5th point.
And this all happening right when Miami was just going on a run. This is a real killer. A flagrant foul after UMass had already scored in the possession prior. It's not good.
And Jingay leaves the second one short. Yeah, one of those where I'm sure Travis Steele and the staff telling Elmar Atlason it's okay to just give up the bucket there and live to fight another day. UMass gets 1 out of 2. They get the ball. Inbound comes up top, and Carbuccia connects with Bediol, who got behind 2 fronting defenders. He turns and pushes it in with 2 hands, and the lead is down to 5. Bediol's got 18. Elmer, through traffic, kicks to the near corner for Byers. He hangs up under the basket and rattles it in. Brant Byers scores it for Miami. He's got 9 points now as the RedHawks lead restored to 7 with almost 7 minutes played in the second half. Banks off a screen right, Suter swiping at the basketball. Banks keeps it away from him, but his pass out top for Bediol is caught right before he reached half court. Then he nearly fell across the line, saves it, gets it into the paint for Jingay. Spin move, and he tosses up the shot. It rolls off the back of the rim and in. Miami bench was pleading for a backcourt call there, but did not get it. Lead is back down to 5 as Elmer's got it on the left wing for the RedHawks. Resets high left for Suter. Suter dribbling with the left hand. Throws it to Trey Perry. Short pass for Elmer high left. Now it's Perry to the near corner. Byers, Trey in the air. A little bit short. Fight for the rebound and tapped out of bounds by Miami as Trey Perry tipped it away from Dwayne Wimbley Jr. attacking the glass. UMass basketball with a chance to cut this to a 1-possession game with 12:19 to go in the second half. Carbuccia down the right wing. Cuts across and scoops it out for Wimbley. Now it's Bediol just under the 3-point arc straight away. Works to the left elbow, gives out. Carbuccia alone, lifts up a 3. It doesn't go. Byers got his arm tugged on. And they do get the foul. As, man, Byers, as he has been throughout this year, has just been a machine at drawing fouls in the second half. Byers has had many a game this year where he shot double-digit free throws, and Miami was caught off guard by that. They were ready to inbound the ball. They're in the bonus, so they walk the floor now as Pete Suter baseball passes that to the official all the way from one end to the other. And Brant Byers now shoots the 1-and-1 for Miami.
And Byers does a great job drawing fouls because his activity on the glass. He's always making a 110% effort down there. Whether he's going to get in a good position or not, he fights his way until that ball is in somebody's hands.
Byers puts up the first free throw. It drops through. 55-49. Now Miami leading as Byers makes his first free throw of the day, and he's up to 10 points. Second Red Hawk into double figures. Couple that are close. Suter and Elmer both with 8. Byers' second free throw. Rainbows up, rolls off the rim. Fell to the back and fell in. Lead back up to 7 as we move under 12 minutes to go. Carbuccia races down the right side. Now works it back up to the top. Wembley Jr. Handoff for Bettiol. Dribbling between the legs to the short corner. Lost it out of bounds. Miami got a deflection on it. It stays with UMass. That brings us to the under 12 timeout. Miami 56, UMass 49. Minutemen, again, have rallied in places like this against the RedHawks this year, as the Minutemen try to chip into what is a 3-possession lead for the RedHawks to keep their season alive here at the Mid-American Conference Tournament in Cleveland. We'll return to Rocket Arena in a moment, again with 11:51 to go in the second half. Miami 56 and UMass 49. You're listening to Miami Basketball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. With the score, Miami 56 and UMass 49. We are back inside Rocket Arena, 11:51 remaining in the game. And for the RedHawks, Brant Byers has just continued to draw foul after foul for Miami, and Byers moves up to 11 points at those latest free throws. He was one of 2 RedHawks, by the way. I neglected to mention making the All-MAC team. He did along with Luke Skalchak, and the RedHawks, again, really just clean house when it came to the postseason awards in the MAC. So UMass puts it back in. They've got it on the offensive end. Carbuccia holding up top, gives to Banks. A blanketed right wing 3. Sneaks over the front rim and in. Oh, man, Suter had his hand right between Banks' eyes, and he drills that 3 to get UMass within 4 with 11:32 remaining in regulation. Suter with his back turned near half court. Bounces it for Woolfolk. Runs it straight to the bucket. Leans in. Kicks out. Right wing alone 3. Elmer got it! Ian Elmer into double figures with 11 points. His second made 3-pointer. Lead back to 7 for Miami with 11:15 to play. Carbuccia to the center of the paint. Bettiol turns around, tosses it over. 3 RedHawks and in. Leonardo Bettiol is the first player with 20 today. 59-54 as Elmer tries another 3, this time from the left wing. It goes in and out, but Byers, a physical fight for the offensive rebound, and gets fouled again. Byers just using that length. The MAC freshman of the year from a season ago is headed back to the free throw line. That is the 8th foul as a team on UMass, so 1-1 here as they call that on the floor.
And he's doing all of this with 3 fouls here in the second half. Still staying physical down there and getting huge rebounds and drawing fouls off of it. It has just been impressive in these first 9 minutes of work.
Byers perfect on the first free throw. And by the way, that puts Jaden Jinge into a bit of trouble with 3 fouls. So he comes off, and Frank Martin forced to check in another player in foul trouble, and Daniel Hankins-Sanford, who spent some extended time on the bench as he's got 3. Right foot in front of his left. Byers lets the second free throw fly. It's through the netting, and the lead is back to 7 for Miami, 61-54 with under 11 minutes to play.
Byers now leading the team today with 5 rebounds.
Carbucci, a short pass to the right side, elbow extended for Bettiol. Runs it down to the block and just rises through 2 Miami players to force it in. Everything running through Leonardo Bettiol for UMass. He's got 22. 61-56 Miami. RedHawks back on the offensive end. Byers gets lost underneath. Suter with a dime from half court and a 2-hand flush for Brant Byers as he moves up to 15 points on the game. Carbucci slashes across to the free throw line. Shimmy shake to get away from some defenders. Finds Bettiol underneath, but the up and under thrown a little too strong. Falls off the left side of the rim. Woolfolk the rebound for Miami. Woolfolk now has it up top. Finds Perry from the right corner. His 3 circles the rim and goes. Timeout UMass. Lead back up to 10. Tying the largest of the game for Miami. And again, the RedHawks electrify this crowd, as Miami has just had a tendency in this game to go score, stop, score. And right when UMass has made a little mini run, the RedHawks deliver another heavy punch as it's a double-figure lead for the second time in the game with 10:04 remaining. And UMass calls their second timeout of the half. They have just 1 remaining.
One of the best offenses in the country, and you see it right here. I mean, they just score so fast in such quick bunches. And it's topped off before the timeout by the guy with the most emotion on the court at all times in Trey Perry. I mean, he has been so impressive. Justin Kirby's been so impressive all season. Both of those freshmen just continue to get better. And then the play of Byers in this second half has just been phenomenal. He has gotten to the free throw line, has up to 5 rebounds now and 15 points, and he's doing all of this with 3 personal fouls. It's just so, so impressive.
66-56, Miami leads UMass. And by the way, an anemic first half for Miami shooting the 3 ball. We said it wouldn't last for long. We were pretty sure it wouldn't last for long. It did not last for long. Miami is 5 for 7 from beyond the arc in the second half. As they've leveled out their 3-point shooting, they've now got a 10-point lead. UMass puts it back into play. They cross it into the front court as we cross under 10 minutes to go in regulation. And Miami on a 5-0 run to stretch the lead back to double figures. Carbucci gives up top for Marcus Banks. Top of the arc, he slips the pass through 2 defenders for Bettiol, who tried to rip that through a couple Miami defenders. He went to the ground, he got fouled. And that is the last foul to give for Miami. The foul's on Ian Elmer, that's his first. But that's the 6th of the team, so UMass will shoot the rest of the way. And they inbound from the left wing baseline as Marcus Banks lost the ball, taking it from the referee, but does put it back in. Wembley gives up top for Carbucci and now steps inside the 3-point arc. 2-footed hop to go back outside, pushes it across for Wembley Jr. to the left short corner. He picks up his dribble, and it goes back to the key for Marcus Banks. NBA range 3. Doesn't go. Fight for the rebound, ball loose on the floor on the MAC logo. There's 3 players in the pile, 1 for UMass, 2 for Miami. It's a jump ball, possession to Miami. And they get the ball back with a chance to make it the largest lead of the game. 66-56. The RedHawks in front with 9:26 to go.
That's great effort there by Ian Elmer to just get on the floor, dive for that one as you own possession arrow. They get the jump ball, and now they get to grow this lead, an opportunity here, up by 10 already.
Miami has also closed the gap considerably, by the way, on the glass. They're only -4 after UMass was really strong there in the first half. Suter controlling on the logo. Overhead bullet pass for Byers on the left wing. Hands back for Suter. Cuts it diagonally across the right lane. He tried to lay it up and just lost it out of bounds. Suter was throwing his head back looking for a foul there, but the officials let that play through, and UMass gets the ball back. And a chance to get this back within single digits with 9:05 remaining. Taken up ahead by Carbucci. He hands off on the left wing for Wembley, who circles the arc up top. Now Carbucci, high ball into the low post on the left side for Bettiol. Bettiol gives for Wembley Jr., trying to shoulder his way into the paint. Give back for Bettiol, who threw it away. But going down on the floor, Banks gets it back for UMass, and Bettiol throws it to the inside where Wembley Jr. was all alone. Just a broken play scramble there, looking for the steal for Miami, and the RedHawks lost a man underneath. Back to an 8-point game. Skaljak, no-look pass. Left wing three, Elmer. He's got it from the corner pocket. Ian Elmer hits his third triple. He's got 14 points, and Miami now has an 11-point lead, their biggest of the game, with 8:22 to play. Wembley Jr. on the cut across to the second hash to the right lane. He lifted up a haphazard shot, but got hacked and fouled. And I think, is that on Byers? No, they get it on Elmer. Byers has gotten really lucky. There are a couple times in the second half where he is right there with another RedHawk when there's a foul called. And you could kind of argue that either guy could get it, and both times the foul has not been called on Byers. So Elmer picks up his second. Byers still with 3. Almar Atlason continues to sit the bench with 4. And Dwayne Wembley Jr. is at the free throw line, just 7 of 14 in the regular season. Not a guy who shoots a ton of foul shots. They call it on the floor, actually, so it's a 1-and-1. He makes the first anyway and earns the bonus, so it doesn't matter, as that gets the lead back down to 10. UMass shooting right around their season average, 7 for 11 at the free throw line. Again, they're in the basement of the MAC when it comes to free throw shooting, as the second one is up and rolls over the iron and in for Wembley Jr. 69-60, Miami leads with 8:19 to go, and looks like UMass will pick up some of this pressure that saw success in the first half. Bounce pass inbound on the right side goes to Ian Elmer. He gives it back to the inbounder Suter, who drives it ahead. Double team comes to Suter as he picks up his dribble, but quickly releases to Skaljak. Ahead to Ian Elmer. Bounce pass for Woolfolk at the block. One shot fake and 2. Ends up with Elmer left corner 3. Off the front rim. Rebound tapped in the air twice. Ends up with Hankin Sanford for UMass as we move under 8 minutes to play. Carbuccia down the right wing. Miami backs off on him on the three-point line. Rainbow across, caught left side of the arc by Jinge. Slashes across to the MAC logo and floats it up and in. So Jinge back on the floor with the 3 fouls. He scores to make it a 7-point game. Pressure picked up again as Jinge poking away at Pete Suter. Bounces it across the timeline on the left wing. And UMass has called for a foul there, working against Elmer, and Frank Martin just has his hands on his head and can't believe it. I thought Elmer may have called a timeout there because he was milliseconds away from being trapped against the half-court line. But kind of just a phantom foul call there, and you can understand why Frank Martin is a little bit upset. That's just kind of a silly one. Bettiol picks it up. That's his 3rd, 9th as a team. It sends Ian Elmer to the free throw line on the other side of the timeout. 7:38 to go in the second half. First round action in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Miami leads UMass 69-62, looking to finish the job when we return to Rocket Arena. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .738 remaining in the second half. The score, Miami 69 and UMass 62. Leonardo Bettiol got the foul. That's his third. Ian Elmer getting set to shoot the 1-and-1 for Miami. Elmer went down with a foot injury that was a little scary looking in the first half, but ended up just missing a couple minutes. He got it taped up. He's come back in and seemed to be at full strength. He's played 24 minutes in this game and has 14 points. So Elmer to the free throw line. Again, just under 8 minutes to play. Luke West Poley, Gavin Stark with you. Jake Zirolli on hand as well. First game of 4. One of the most fun days of the year coming to the MAC tournament. Yesterday, of course, with the 4 women's games, and today with the 4 men's games. You get to watch, with breaks in between, about 8 hours of basketball over the course of the day, and meaningful basketball at that. Ian Elmer steps to the free throw line. Top 15 free throw shooter in the MAC in the regular season, and he gets a lucky roll over the front rim and in on the first one to earn the bonus. Elmer holds the ball against his left hip, spins it, bounces it once, tosses up the second, and that's pure for Ian Elmer. 71-62 with 7:36 remaining in regulation for Miami as they seek to punch a ticket to the semifinals tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Jingay works to the right elbow. Miami just backs off on him, and he pulls up and makes the jumper. Pretty simple work there for Jaden Jingay. He's into double figures with 11 points. UMass picks up the press. Banks working against Elmer. Elmer crosses him up, heads across the timeline on the left wing, goes airborne, gives it for Byers against the baseline. And now Byers resets it out near half court for Pete Suter. High on the right side, Luke Skaljak runs it to the left elbow, picks up his dribble, dishes to the near corner for Suter. Shakes his way towards the lane, 6 on the shot clock, shouldering in on Banks. Mac Logo fade away off the left side of the rim and out. Rebound to Bettiol for UMass. Taken right to left by Carbuccia. Bettiol holds it on top. Hands off for Banks, steps up into a 3, leaves it short, but the rebound out to Hankins Sanford. He gives right back for Banks, races by Elmer and lays it in with the right hand. And the lead is down to 5, just like that, for Miami at 71-66.
And UMass going to continue to do this press style here to slow down the offense for the RedHawks.
Yeah, weren't swiping at the ball that time, but did match up at least in full court, like you said. Miami took about 8 seconds to get it across the timeline. Woolfolk now underneath off the feed by Skaljak. He didn't get it, but a late whistle as Banks is called for the foul. Looked like Woolfolk may have been fouled there, but again, kind of a 50-50, and that ball actually came back down, and Banks got the rebound. And actually, they called on Bettiol, and that's his 4th. And Miami got Bettiol out of that second meeting early. If you remember, he fouled out of that game, and that was a major part of why Miami pulled away down the stretch to win comfortably, relatively speaking, of course. Antoine Woolfolk at the free throw line, now shooting the double bonus. First shot up, and it falls out. So Miami glad that was the 10th foul for UMass as Woolfolk gets a second one for free. Byers checks off. Trey Perry into the game for Miami. 6:14 to go in the second half, and again, a 5-point RedHawk advantage. Credit to this UMass team who has not gone away. Bettiol, the first player who's picked up his 4th for UMass, and Frank Martin's not checking him out. He made a change, but it was KJ Parker in for Marcus Banks.
Just shows how important Bettiol is. I mean, the only way to really stop Bettiol is him to foul out in general.
And Woolfolk misses both. Rebound to Hankins Sanford for UMass, his 6th board. They've got a chance to cut it to 1 possession with just over 6 to play. Jangay off a screen to the right. Heads down the alley, picks up his dribble, bounces off for Bettiol, left lane, hangs up, got the foul, and he finishes over the top. Leonardo Bettiol flexing the muscles and yelling out towards half court as he's got a chance to trim the lead to 1 possession at the free throw line with 24 points now off the assist by Jingay.
Leonardo Bettiol loves the big games, and 2 big games against Miami, now 3, and he has just been dominant in all of them.
Bettiol, a senior, native of Italy. Omar Atlason checks back on for Antoine Woolfolk. Keep an eye on that with the 4 fouls. Fouls on Suter, which is his 2nd. Bettiol transferred over from Abilene Christian, and he's one of those guys that just look at him as he puts the free throw up, and he makes it to cut the lead down to 2. And there are plenty of MAC coaches, film analysts on social media, people that see, even though he's out of eligibility, he hit the portal this offseason, ended up at UMass. And there are a lot of high major teams that were very unfortunate to not get this guy as Miami puts it back in. Trey Perry bringing it up the floor. He's got a UMass defender right on his waist. That's KJ Parker, but gets it across the timeline. Skaljak swings it around. Ends up with Perry on the left wing for a three. It skips off the left side of the iron, and UMass picks it up. Dimitri Clerk gets the rebound, and the Minutemen can tie or take the lead down by 2 with 5:37 to play. Danny Carbuccia holds at the top of the key, gives to the far side. Hankins Sanford rises for 3. It funnels out, but an offensive rebound for Jinge. Bracketed by Miami defenders, runs away from the traffic, floats it up and in for the left block. Tie game with 5:21 remaining. Timeout called by Miami with the game even at 71. 5:21 remaining in the second half, and UMass on a 13-2 run to get this game back level at 71 aside. RedHawks call their first time out of the second half. They've got 2 remaining as Miami tries to rally the troops here late.
This position here for Miami, it's exactly what's happened in these other matchups between UMass. You know, you get that lead, you have the 10-point. If you start to feel a little bit comfortable, and all of a sudden UMass comes marching back. And now we have a tied-up ball game with 5 minutes and 21 seconds left here in the second half. And strap in, because this one's going to be a good one down to the wire.
5:21 left. Just to get you reset here, the possession arrow favors UMass. They have 10 fouls, Miami with 8, so the next foul potentially just a single bonus for the Minutemen, double bonus for the RedHawks. 1 foul remaining for UMass, 3 for Miami. 1 player with 4 fouls on each team, Almar Atlason and Leonardo Bettiol. And they are both on the floor. They were, at least prior to the timeout, but Bettiol checks off here for UMass. And so he takes a seat for the time being. And Miami's got to take advantage of that as they come out of the timeout in a newly tied game. Trey Perry brings it up the floor for the RedHawks, crosses the timeline on the right wing, finds Suter between the circles. Suter puts it on the deck with his right hand, crossover dribble, gets into the paint, kicks out Atlason, left wing 3. He hits it! Big shot for Almar Atlason. His first make from beyond the arc, and Miami back ahead, 74-71 with 4:56 remaining.
And that happens after he's sitting on the bench for the last 6 minutes of gameplay. He comes in and nails a big 3-point dagger.
Jinge works his way to the paint, lifts it up with the right hand, doesn't go, gets his own rebound, puts up the fall away, and got it, plus the foul. Jinge just kind of stumbled his way to the lane. The first shot was not online, but got it back, and as he was going to the ground, just chucked one up at the rim. He got fouled, and the ball took a couple hops before going through. And that three-pointer potentially about to be wiped off the board by Jinge, depending on the foul shot. Chance for a three-point play. His right foot in front of his left. Free throw up and in. And we are tied again at 74 with 4:45 remaining. Inbound goes to Luke Skaljak. Dribbling it down the right wing. Skaljak brings it into the front court. Banks guarding him. Skaljak, crossover dribble, gets down the center of the paint. He's left alone. He lays it up and in. Banks just backed off, I think, expecting help there on Skaljak. Nothing came. And he just runs it right to the rack. Skaljak with 7 points. Miami ahead by 2. Banks right side of the key, guarded by Suter. Shoulders in, left elbow. Whips it back to the outside. KJ Parker, top of the arc. Works his way right. Pass to the inside, batted away by Trey Perry. Steal for the RedHawks. Elmer catches a long feed ahead. Tried to go up and under. He threw it away now as Parker gets in the way of that pass. And UMass has it back. Parker from out of nowhere. Elmer did not see him, and he intercepts that. Banks in the front court, pulls up for 3, and he hits it. UMass leads. With 3:48 remaining at 77-76 as Atlason now alone from the left wing. His triple bounces off the rim, falls out. Oh, it skipped a couple times off the iron and didn't go for Almar Atlason. And now UMass brings the ball ahead, slowing it down with 3:30 to play. They lead by 1. KJ Parker deals off for Jinge on the right wing. Back to the top, Luka Damjanic into the game for UMass. Parker makes his way into the lane, pushes it out. Hankins Sanford, mid-range J falls. Hankins Sanford sticks it. It's a 3-point UMass lead with 3:09 to go. Frank Martin holds his right fist in the air to call the play defensively. Skaljack tees up a three and hits it from the top of the arc. Oh, Miami needed that. We move under 3 minutes to play, and the Cleveland kid, Luke Skaljack, gets the RedHawks even.
He's right at home and sinks that one. This is March.
10 points for Luke Skaljack, 2:48 to play, tied at 79. Parker off the screen right, works to the block, goes through Elmer Atlason, threw it too strong though. Offensive rebound, Domjanec, and he puts it back up and in. Travis Steele fuming with the official that Domjanec pushed off going on the offensive glass, but he gets UMass back in front by 2. Skaljack finds Atlason, steps into a right wing three, way short and off the hand of Suter and out of bounds. And that brings us to a timeout on the floor as UMass set to get the ball back with 2:26 remaining in the second half. And the score, UMass 81 and Miami 79. RedHawks have done it in situations like this all year long and now find themselves again right up against it in quarterfinal action here at the MAC tournament. We'll take one final break. The finish is next from Rocket Arena. UMass 81 and Miami 79. You're listening to Miami basketball at the MAC tournament on Red Hawk Radio. .226 remaining in the second half. UMass ball, they lead the game, 81-79. Elmer Atlason missed the three-pointer just moments ago. And the RedHawks nearly got lucky as the airballed three nearly ended up like a football pass right into the hands of Pete Suter underneath the basket, but it glanced off his fingertips and out of bounds. So UMass ball coming out with a chance to pull off a stunner here at Rocket Arena. Miami has played more games like this, though, than anybody else in the country. You can comfortably say that at this point in the year. And here we go with 2:26 to go. UMass leads by 2, and Carbuccia puts it on the deck with his left hand as he brings it up the floor. Carbuccia guarded by Luke Skaljack. Suter on Banks, who circles to the far side and now cuts back to the right wing. Banks catches the pass up top with 14 on the shot clock. Now Elmer switches to guard him on the wing. Bettiol from the left elbow with 10 to shoot. Banks catch and shoot on the left wing for 3. Missed everything. UMass trying to chase it down, and Hankins Sanford saved it, but he was standing out of bounds. And so it's Miami ball with 1:59 to go and a chance to tie or take the lead for the RedHawks.
Man, it's a good thing he stepped out of bounds because Marcus Banks Jr. drilled the 3-ball after the whistle was blown.
And he was wide open in the left corner. Skaljack bringing it up the floor for Miami. Dribbles it between his legs as he crosses the MAC logo. Bounces it off high left for Ian Elmer. Elmer gets double teamed out near half court. Nearly stumbled, nearly threw it away. Skaljack rips it away from Hankins Sanford, or rather that was Carbuccia that was prodding on it. Skaljack shot fake, steps back, long two in the air. It rolls off. 3 Minutemen there for the rebound. Jinge goes down. Nothing called there somehow, as I think Ian Elmer a little fortunate to get away with one. But UMass ends up with the board, 1:23 left. They lead it by 2. And just slowing it down up top. Hankins Sanford off to the right side for Marcus Banks. 12 on the shot clock. Bettiol to the left wing for Jinge. Cuts it across. Back to the top. Carbuccia with 6 to shoot. Carbuccia comes around to the right short corner. Tried to lob it up. Hankins Sanford catches it. He's turned away at the rim by Woolfolk. Tried to go back up, but he ran out of time. Shot clock violation against UMass. And wow, a full 30-second defense for Miami. They've got the ball back. They trail by 2. 1:03 to go in the second half.
And that's the bend, don't break mentality right there on that defensive possession. Standing tall, shots put up, swatted away.
Pete Suter enters the front court on the right wing with under a minute to play. UMass 81, Miami 79. Suter off a screen left, works his way to the nail, fade away from the free throw line. He's got it! Suter ties the game, 81-81 with 50 seconds to go. Carbuccia brings it ahead for UMass. Suter with 10. Hankins Sanford slings it off for Banks. Back up top, Bettiol. To the left wing, Jinge steps inside the three-point arc. Bounce pass for Hankins Sanford on the block. Lifts it up and in. Hankins Sanford gets UMass back in front. 83-81 Minutemen. Shot and game clock separated by 3 seconds. Suter cutting back and forth. Suter tried to slip it through for Woolfolk. It took a deflection. Skaljack now threw it away. He threw it to Banks. Miami must foul. They foul Banks with 18.4 to go. And Skaljack just didn't see Banks right there. It was a scramble because as soon as Miami started running offense, Suter threw a ball off of a foot that was loose on the floor, and after that it was just a mad dash to try and find something. Miami turns it over, 18.4 seconds remain, and Marcus Banks, who is the 4th best free throw shooter in the MAC, heads to the line for 2, with UMass leading by 2. Banks takes a deep breath, first one up, first one rattles around and in. 84-81 UMass with, again, 18.4 seconds to go.
Single person sitting in their seat right now in Rocket Arena.
Banks spins the ball in his left hand, bounces it once, second free throw up, second free throw good. 2-possession lead for the Minutemen with 18.4 to go. Skaljack taking it down the right side. UMass pressuring here. Skaljack's got to go. Miami down 4. Byers from the left side lifts up a 3. That's way off, but a foul. Byers is fouled, shooting a 3 with 9.9 seconds to go. He was off balance. But Byers heads to the line for 3 shots with 9.9 seconds remaining.
And I thought it was pretty obvious when he got hit that it was going to be called a foul, but the whistle came so late. I think that's why there's some boos on into the crowd right now, because that whistle came very late.
Yeah, from our vantage point, we could see it did look like a foul on replay, but from our vantage point, we were a little blocked. It looked like Byers was just way off balance. Now he's at the line. 3 shots for Byers, Miami down 4. First one up, first one in for Brant Byers. 85-82 UMass. 2 more coming up for Byers, who has 16 points to lead the RedHawks in this game. 5 Miami players in double figures. Miami's only played 8 players in this game. Second one up for Byers. Off the front rim and in. Snuck it through. And now a big one coming up, because you could cut it to 1, and then at the very least, if you foul, UMass hits both free throws and you get the ball back, it's a 1-possession game. Byers takes a breath, final one in the air. It rolls off the rim and doesn't go. And UMass gets it right to Banks, and he's fouled with 8.3 seconds remaining. And just unfortunate there for Brant Byers. Unfortunately, the last one doesn't fall, and now you'll have to pray for some misses here with 8.3 seconds to go.
Some more big free throws for Marcus Banks Jr. as well.
UMass 85, Miami 83. Banks to the free throw line. Those last 2 shots, he took his first foul shots of the game. So this is his second trip. He's got 16 points. Takes a long breath. First shot up, and perfect. So this is a big one now, a chance to make it 2 possessions. Danny Carbuccia checks back in for UMass to take KJ Parker's place. 86-83 Minutemen with 8.3 to go. Banks takes another breath. Second one up. It falls through. It's a 4-point game with 8.3 seconds to go. Miami tried to hit Suter, who was curling. It went off of Carbuccia and out of bounds, but the RedHawks lose valuable time there. 5.9 seconds remaining. I think Travis Steele is asking the officials to look at the clock. But I'm not sure if they'll go to the monitor here. It does not look like they will, and now Miami's got to get into desperation mode. You got to get this up and get it to the rim quickly. Into the backcourt it goes for Skaljak. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Skaljak pulls up. He misses the 3, and UMass has pulled off the stunner here in March. The perfect season comes to an end here this afternoon on the first day of the MAC tournament, as UMass stuns Miami and the Minutemen beat the RedHawks 87-83. And again, just like 1999 now for Miami, a historic season, an early exit in Cleveland, and the RedHawks, who many say are safe, will still have to now wait for a few long days before they will see on Sunday afternoon if their name is called and their season will continue in the NCAA tournament.
What a stunner. I mean, credit to UMass. They hung around this entire game. They were down by 10 multiple times in that second half and just continued to climb back. And ultimately, you know, you have 4 scorers in double digits for UMass. Hankins with 11, Ejigbe 16, Banks 18, Bettiol 25. I mean, these guys all stepped up to the plate and delivered for the UMass Minutemen. And, you know, for Miami on the other end, you got 5 scorers in double digits. You keep the lineup a little bit shorter with 8 today, but overall just not enough at the end. Some bad execution late, a really costly turnover by Skaljak in the Miami offense with about 30 seconds left on the clock that really cost them late here.
And this tournament in its history has been historically unkind to 1 seeds. It has been really, really hard for them to win here. And unfortunately for the RedHawks, that trend continues. And for UMass, I mean, listen, it has not been the season that the Minutemen have been looking for, but this team certainly has the talent to compete with anybody else in this league. And they are now potentially just 2 wins away after not knowing if they'd even be here. But a couple days separated from a potential trip in their own right to the NCAA tournament if they can pull off a couple more upsets and run the table. So with the loss, Miami falls to 31-1 overall. And again, that ends a historic undefeated regular season for Miami in the first round of the MAC tournament. You played with fire many, many, many times this season and playing a lot of close games. It's been a ton of fun to watch Miami win every single one of them, and unfortunately, Miami finally snake bitten here today as they fall to UMass 87-83. And again, the Minutemen on to face the winner of the next game coming up here from Cleveland, as Bowling Green will meet up with Toledo in the 4-5 game with a trip to the semifinals on the line. Well, we certainly hope to not be done here with Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio this season. And for the RedHawks, I mean, listen, there have been plenty of people on soapboxes over the last couple weeks. We don't necessarily need to get on ours about what we think should happen on Sunday, but with what the bubble looks like and with what Miami did, historic in the regular season, I think most people think this thing isn't over, and it absolutely should not be for this RedHawks team. But unfortunately, just like 1999, they rip through the regular season and then crash out in the MAC tournament as the RedHawks fall to UMass and now have to wait to see if they will be one of the at-large bids to the NCAA tournament on Sunday. So again, we hope to have some NCAA tournament coverage for you. Stay tuned to RedHawk socials to see what that may look like, where Miami's playing, when they're playing. Almost certainly some more postseason basketball in Miami's future, well, their NCAA tournament or otherwise, as the RedHawks are MAC regular season champions. They have secured the right to play in some tournament, but Miami hoping it will be the big dance. And the unfortunate part of this great sport is now you just have to wait until Sunday afternoon. So we are not done here from Cleveland this weekend. There is still Miami games to be played, and that's because Glenn Box and the Miami women took care of business yesterday. We will be on the air for Miami women's basketball starting tomorrow as the RedHawks will look to avenge their loss in the regular season finale against Ohio. Again, the top-seeded RedHawks against the Ohio Bobcats, with coverage beginning tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. and a 10 a.m. tip-off. RedHawks and Bobcats on the women's side, a chance to go to the MAC championship game on the line tomorrow morning. Now to wrap things up for us, a historic season for Miami that hits an untimely wall here in Cleveland. The RedHawks fall to UMass 87-83 in the first quarterfinal at the Mid-American Conference Tournament, and now hope to be an at-large to the NCAAs. Jake Zirolli has our post-game coming up next. We would, before we go, just like to give a really big shout-out to you all, wherever you may be listening, for making this far and away our most listened to broadcast we have ever done here on our RedHawk Radio airwaves. So we really sincerely appreciate the support and the support that those listening have given us all season. This has been a really, really fun year of Miami basketball, and again, hoping that it is not over. And we will know the answer to that by the end of this weekend. So thank you to you wherever you may be. Make some coffee and come listen to us tomorrow morning for some Miami women's basketball. And until then, for my partner Gavin Stark, I'm Luke West Poley signing off and sending you to post-game coverage with Jake Zirolli next. It's been a presentation of Miami basketball at the MAC tournament on RedHawk Radio.
Miami falls 87-83. A blemish finally finds itself on the record. Robert Frost was right. Nothing gold can truly stay. My name is Jake Zirolli. I was with you for pregame and halftime. With you now for postgame. And just a tough one for these RedHawks. They finally drop a game, losing in the first round of the MAC tournament. UMass will move on to play the winner of the next game here, Toledo and Bowling Green. So going in your stat leaders for Miami, the leading scorer was Brant Byers. Oh, excuse me, the hiccups. Leading scorer was Brant Byers with 17 points. After him, Ian Elmer with 16, Anton Wolf with 14. Suter and Scaljak also in double figures with 10 each. RedHawks only using 8 men, Allison, Kirby, and Pear, the other 3, off the bench with 5, 6, and 5, respectively. Byers 5 of 11 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. That crucial missed free throw at the very end. Potentially, had he made that third one, Marcus Banks makes it 2 at the other, and then it's just a 3-point game. It's a different gameplay, but we can say a lot of what-ifs. Other teams have said a lot of what-ifs about Miami's close wins. That's how basketball goes. It's the beauty of the game. It can make you cry. It can make you smile. It makes you laugh. It makes you push things away. It makes you close your eyes. It makes you open them. And that's why we love it so much, and that's why we're here. For UMass, the leading scorer, Leonardo Bettiol, with 25 points. The Italian was dominant. 10 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, also adding 8 boards, which was joint for the lead, along with Daniel Henkin-Sanford and Jaden Njigwe, pardon me. Rebounding leader for Miami, split between Wolfhook and Byers with 5 apiece. Assist leaders, Suter and Scaljak split it for Miami with 7. For UMass, it was Danny Carbucci with 8. Carbucci also added 7 points and 2 rebounds. Jaden Njigwe also with 4 assists for the Minutemen. Overall, some team stats. Miami 48% from the field goal percentage. UMass 52%. UMass 20% from three. Miami 36. UMass 78% from the free throw line to Miami's 72. UMass won the rebounding battle 41-24. Won the offensive rebounding battle 17-9. So that was a big thing. The offensive rebounds not going Miami's way and going well in the way of UMass was a big factor in their eventual defeat. Turnovers, UMass with 11, Miami with 9. Points off of those turnovers, though. UMass with more points off of less turnovers with 12 compared to Miami's 10. UMass with 54 points in the paint. Out of their 87 points, 54 coming in the paint. Miami with just 30. So paint dominance was what led to Mass winning this game. Miami led by as much as 11. UMass led by no more than they won the game, 4 points. Just a tough one for Miami, but in whatever postseason adventure they are taking on, they're at the mercy of the committee, but whatever postseason adventure they're taking on, they will have this taste in their mouths and will be ready to win postseason games no matter what setting they find themselves in, whether that be the NCAA tournament or the NIT. Looking around the country. Sorry, my computer is being slow. I apologize. That's why there's so many people in here that the Wi-Fi gets slow. 3:03 left in the first quarter between Iowa State and Texas Tech. The 7th-ranked Cyclones up 28-27 on the 15th-ranked Red Raiders. In the ACC quarterfinal, Virginia treading on thin ice as NC State down just 2, 42-40 with 16 minutes to go in the game. So the 10th-ranked Cavaliers also on upset alert. St. John's up 51-34 on the Providence Friars with 17:45 to go in the game. 13th-ranked Red Storm look to be on their way to the Big East semifinal. In the Atlantic 10, George Washington 55-50. Now 57-50 ahead of Fordham with 5:33 to go in that one. In the A-10 second round, in the Big Ten third round, Ohio State up 38-33 over Iowa. Both of those teams closer to the bubble, so Miami will have their eyes on that game. You'd probably rather Iowa win that one. Ohio State's resume a little less impressive, so we'll see what happens out there. With 2:50 left in the first half, Kentucky up 35-24 on Missouri. Two more potentially bubble teams. Maybe not, since they play in one of the hardest conferences, the SEC, but now you got to start thinking about these things. You have to start thinking about the teams with 9, 10, 11 losses in the power conferences, which may be stealing bids. So just another scope of teams that Miami now has to look out for. Plenty of games the rest of the day. None have gone final, but basketball from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., one of the best days of the year. Some of your bigger games going on today. Arizona in action, the 2 seed at 3 o'clock against UCF in the Big 12 quarterfinal. Another big game going on. Purdue is in action, the 18th ranked Boilermakers at 6:30 against Northwestern in the Big 10 third round. Top seed Duke at 7 o'clock in the ACC quarterfinal against Florida State. 5th seed Houston against a formidable BYU team in the Big 12 quarterfinal at 7. Kansas TCU at 9:30. The 14th ranked Jayhawks take on TCU. Looks to be already in the tournament, but we'll see on that one at 9:30. Also at 9:30, the 19th ranked Carolina Tar Heels, North Carolina, taking on Clemson, who just beat Wake Forest last night in the ACC quarterfinal. No tickets to be punched today, but some other big games across the country in the mid-major and high-major level alike. That'll do it for this post-game show. Miami drops this one to UMass. They will now wait until Sunday, a nervy 3 days and change as they wait for the NCAA selection committee to decide their fate. Will they be going dancing, or will they be headed to the NIT, or will that be it for Red Hawk basketball this year? We shall see. My name is Jake Zirolli. Thank you so much for tuning in for this entire broadcast. As Luke said earlier, we've had the most views on a Red Hawk radio stream ever. 5,546 views. That is absolutely tremendous. Thank you all so much. This is why we do these things, to show you just what being a mid-major broadcast team is like, through the ups, of which there have been many this season, and the downs, of which we hit a very low right here. And now we wonder what will happen on Sunday. We don't know. All we can do is watch the rest of this tournament and the rest of basketball around the country. Enjoy the weekend. Watch for those bubble teams to see how far they go. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Miami drops this one 87-83 to UMass. We'll let you go here. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.